Why is that like that? Oh, we'll just live with it. Start streaming. I think that's alright. I think that's pretty much all good. Cool. Let's view it on the watch page. Well, hello there, humans, hippies, earthlings, whoever you are, whatever you're doing, if you're lucky enough to be doing it too. You're doing it with me for the next wee while. How you all going? Good to see you. Good to see you. Fresh back from Minsk. I'm still pretty freaking wrecked, which is no surprise because I've been chucking the body all over the world of late, and it's been exciting. It's been tiring, and it's been hectic. So I'm just trying to sort all my windows out here. I'm going to have to resize this window, I think. There we go. I love you, Bushka. Dr. Doge Doctor. Love you too, Doge. Oh, that's the first time I've ever seen that happen before. Good to see you all, man. It's good to be back home. I got to tell you that right now. It is good to be back home. It's been a very, very hectic couple of months. Ahoy from Poland, Nintendo. Good to see you, mate. And the Cowboys and their kin, like the sea came pouring in. It's good to have you all here. Jeez, I missed you. Missed you all. Missed the streams. Missed the regular connection to the humans. Tiger 2, maybe. I said that this was going to be a developer Q&A. Basically, what I'm talking about with that is I did a lot of chatting with the devs at the big Streameroonie, at the big chat-in on in Minsk. We had a developer Q&A where I got to talk to everyone, which was great. And I also got to basically have dinner with the head developer as well, which wasn't as cool as he sounds because he doesn't speak English, or he does, but not as well as he speaks Russian, and I don't speak any Russian. It's pretty much embarrassing how much Russian I don't speak compared to how much English they do speak, which is a bit grim. And I got to find out a lot of stuff, and a lot of it obviously, like, there's a lot of conversations went on, and I can broadly talk about that, which I have done in videos and things. But if there's anything specific that you really want to know about, then absolutely ask away, and I'll try and get to it, and we can work on it. I was lucky enough that Stutsk, aka Goose, from Purple, took some notes, and he forwarded those through to me as well. I did send him a message before. I've requested his friend request, but he hasn't answered. I don't think he's online at the moment. Just going to see if I can get him in here as well, just to remind me about anything that I missed. I'm just going to play games as well while we're at it. You know, should be good fun. Should be a bit of giggle. Don't know where JC Ware is. I was hoping to see JC. He does a lot of the moderating, but Thorny, you're in there as well. M16, amigo, how you going?
I can get in there if you want me to.
Yeah, jump in. Let me know if anyone asks any questions.
Alright, not a problem. I'll head over there.
Talk to me, M16.
Doing well enough, I suppose.
How'd you go? Last time when I last talked to you was one of the last streams I did before I headed off into the Wild Blue Yonder. You were heading out on your Special Forces run.
That didn't end as I planned. I got dropped during land nav.
Oh man, what happened?
Well, I had signed an NDA, so I can't be like too specific.
Yeah.
Basically, the maps at land nav aren't they're not current, and you have to stay away from roads, and a lot of it's done at night. So I was just like walking at night, following my compass, and then cadre popped up in a ghillie suit, told me I was too close to a road that wasn't on the map, and so got dropped right then and there.
Holy shitballs! Excuse the language. That's tough.
Oh, that's not even the worst of it. A few classes ago, a guy was running away from water moccasins, very, very venomous snakes, and he ended up on a road and got dropped even after he showed the cadre where the snake were. He's like, yeah, that sucks. Give me your scorecard, you're done.
That's tough.
Yeah.
And Shaky, you're in here as well. Shaky, the man of the hour. Now, for those of you that don't know, Shaky highlighted a
There's JC.
bug with and JC Ware. Good to see you, amigo.
Good evening, sir. Welcome back.
Thank you, mate. Lovely to be here. Lovely to be resuming regular programming. But back to the topic at hand. Basically, Shaky pointed out to me that you could fire through the gun mounts of American tanks, and I said, Shaky, you've been on too many wild New Zealand plants and mushrooms. You're off your head. Let's go and test this in a training room. I'm sure you'll be wrong. And lo and behold, you absolutely could. And I did a whole video on it. And we're sitting there in this developer meeting, and they go, and we're going to be doing a whole big buff with tier 10, which they are. And we're going to fix the E4s. We're going to make some changes to the E4 and the zero armor issue. And I'm like, me and Skate are like, what do you mean zero armor issue? And they say that, you know, Bushka, you did a video on this. We saw the video and we are going to fix that zero armor issue. And I said, on T-34s and everything else? And he goes, yes, on all these tanks. So, Shaky, dude, how cool is that? Because you brought that up, they found out about it through a video that we did, and they are now balancing the game based on that. So that's pretty freaking awesome.
Cheers for the shout-outs, by the way. I saw them.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
That is great. Well, I finally contributed something to Blitz, huh?
Apart from your constant whinging. Yeah, no, that's true.
That's how you earn an M60, folks.
Yeah, that's right. So, Shaky, the M60's on the way.
You can earn it like that, or just not playing for 4 months.
So, let's have a look here. M16, you're running around at the moment, aren't you? Yeah, I'll grab it. We'll have a couple of plats. Why not? I'll drive the 54 lightweight for fun.
Perfect.
Now, any questions? Are they going to bring the Chieftain to Blitz? I'm not certain they're going to bring the Chieftain. What I can tell you is that there will be changes at the top of the British tech tree. We will be getting other tanks. Like, that's all there is to it. We're going to be getting other tanks, and they're going to be moving certain tanks as well. Yeah. Well, so they talked about the Chieftain Mark 6, but they said it's going to be like next year, maybe. So you can't guarantee that that's going to be coming, right? It's absolutely no guarantee.
What year y'all doing? Maybe I can get in a game or two.
12.
Tier 8. Oh, I better turn the sound up. Better turn the sound up. Can you guys hear that?
I've got a question for you. Did anyone ask about the details of the M60 or on how to acquire one?
No, they didn't. There's heaps of things. Hey, like it's like when you have that conversation in your head about all the things you should have said afterwards when you're having an argument with your wife or something. I had heaps of those. Like one of the big ones was that, which I don't think they would have answered anyway. But the other one that I really wanted to ask was exactly why spare parts were introduced. I think that would have been interesting to find out. But yeah, lots of stuff like that. I'm going to go a little bit shallower here. M16.
You
name
guys going to town. Well,
JC, are you checking that chat out?
Yes, I am.
If you see any questions, man, just throw them my way.
All right. Did you name Sydney's new ferry?
No? What's it called?
Don't have a faintest clue. The guy just asked.
Man, I'm so not...
Bushka or something?
Yeah, it's called the Big Bushka. Goose from Purple, the Grub, said that he formerly Stutsk, whatever. He said he was going to rename himself to something like have you seen my, or look at my Bushka, or you know, something like that. It was very ugly.
Fairy face.
Yeah.
Jake.
I'm down into this M445 here, 16.
yeah, I'm looking for shots on the Tiger too. There we go. And a bounce.
Oh, I'm going to push
People ask
down.
if you talk to Hesh issue again, and of course what you know about maps.
Yeah, okay, so Hesh I did talk about, and you guys would know that a big part of my platform with the Cent 7 and 1 was why not just give it 2 guns, because that would have solved the issue right at the start. And I'm not trying to toot my own horn here, it's just something that I was all about. And then they went and gave us heat instead. and then obviously that got pulled, and I talked to them, and they are actually looking at going back to that 2-gun situation. So that was the last thing that I heard from them on that, was the 2 guns. And they didn't really outline exactly what their thought process was with the Hesh nerf, backwards and forwards on that. But I mean, balance is a lot tougher than you think. Like the way things get balanced is a lot more diverse and different. Are we on this IS3 or are you on the IS6?
I'm on the IS6, but I'm about to kill him anyway.
Okay, no worries.
Don't worry about it.
How am I gonna?
Ooh. Oh, no, it wasn't
Yeah.
gonna get the shot on him anyways.
Sorry, I was in your way, wasn't I?
Now I was reloading. It's no big deal.
Okay.
Kept my 100% win rate, so it's fine.
All right. Yeah. So the Sense 7-1 thing was tough. The other thing that was interesting in that was they talked about the difficulty with balancing a lot of things, and there's so much that goes into it that we're not really aware of. The player base as a whole, myself included, up until going there, has this overly simplistic idea of how balance works, and it just there is so
You
much.
don't just change numbers and fix everything?
Yeah, it really doesn't happen like that.
You know, when we were talking about that the other night, I sat down and I was penciling stuff out. I think I quit at like 43 aspects I could think of.
Yeah.
And that's bad, since I'm not a computer geek.
And the other thing that we really don't talk enough about is like maps. Map balance. The way they balance the maps and the way they've got to balance it across tiers, and the way that also works into the logistics of they keep trying to pull the client size down further and further and further, and you end up in a situation where you have this real hard knuckle issue between balancing for logistics and balancing for tanks and gameplay. Like, you can have different maps for every tier and that would be perfect, but then you have a client that's 6 gigs and you have like a player base that is a lot smaller, so you have to really run with some hard choices in those kind of situations. And it's why we end up with things like Copperfield, which is probably not ideal for tier 10, but why it was played at tier 10 for so long, despite the fact that they probably know that it's not really the perfect situation. M16, I'm so sorry. I've just been talking and I've realised I'm now just in the spawn here. Hey, like, not really perfect.
Just going back to M16's military training. Sucks that you
Okay.
didn't get in, dude.
Yeah.
Might be starting my own soon.
SFAS. Or there's the Army.
I'm dead.
Joining the Navy.
Okay,
Squid?
Yeah.
Will the Drac, sorry guys, just jumping in here. Want to get through some of these questions because obviously, ahoy Marvin Paz from Honduras. Will the Drac ever come back? Hell no, I cannot see that happening. One of the things that, sorry M16, that was probably my fault. I wasn't really paying attention. One of the things
What's
that,
ugly camo on the BK.
one of the things the developers really said, which was hammered home, the head developer and the guy who's head of global publishing were in the room, and the developer would love to balance the Dracula and all these other tanks, but there is the whole issue then of premiums and how people pay for premium tanks, and then if you start balancing them, people won't buy premium tanks and that kind of thing. And basically, and it's another sign of how difficult balance is, that you have more factors that you have to take into account than just the game and just how the game is played when people are paying money for things, and it becomes a very, very narrow fine line. So he can't really balance the Drac or the Helsing that much, and tier 7 is a tier where you can't just balance everything around it because there's like 50 freaking tanks, and it's not like tier 2 or 3 where they could balance around tier 2 or 3. Like Skate made the point, and they did not, by the way, they did not acknowledge that this was the case. Skate made the point that they seem to have balanced around the Panzer 2J by raising everything else apart from that at that low tier. That might be a thing you could do at a low tier, but I can't imagine you can do that at tier 7. So I don't see the Drat coming back. There you
Well,
go.
I guess that makes the argument the premiums really have to be right from when they release it.
Yes, JC, that's a beautiful point.
Yeah, just look at the Kennyotsu. I mean, that thing's ridiculous.
Yeah, and they stopped selling it. They literally stopped selling it, but did not refund the money and did not take the tank out of the game.
Yeah.
And it's why it's so hard to balance this stuff, because coming out of the gate, like M16 is driving the Cruel Twist. Beautiful looking tank, right? But I feel like it's probably a little bit, I think personally, it's probably a couple of percentage points under the RU. But it's close, you know?
Yeah, the HE kind of makes up for that.
Yeah, but like they've both got that crazy HE, high explosive plastic. Now, if you make, I think it's still a good tank. But if you make that a better tank, then the RU becomes less relevant, I guess.
Yeah.
You already, yet if you don't make it too strong, no one buys the tank, which kind of defeats the purpose of trying to make money out of the game for them, because there are a lot of people that actually work for a living doing this game. So that balancing act, it's got to be right coming out of the gate, and that's probably the place where you see the biggest issues. I asked about the T54 Mod 1, and that's another one where they just can't really balance it, and yet it's just drastically overpowered in my opinion.
Yeah.
Pushing.
Eggyman 23 wanted to know, on a different note, what your favorite individual match was in Twister. Battle.
Oh, damn.
Oh, that's really hard. There was a couple of ones, like I really liked the Himmelsdorf game that they won on, not because it was the most exciting game, but because if you want to see amazing heavy play, like just amazing heavy play, and you want to know why these guys are the best players, you know, in terms of tournament play, not just one-on-ones, watch that game, because the guys from Legion push up into the A cap on Himmelsdorf, and they have a lot of other tanks there in front of them. Namely, they've got like grills and E4s, and they're all coming through, and they only really have 3 tanks there for about 30 or 40 seconds, and they rotate through hit points and share all the way through really well, and that's something that you can only do if you've been playing together for a long time and are really effective. It's not something that's easy to do. That for me was just so impressive, you know. It was so impressive, way more than just the one-on-one stuff that happens.
Oh, I love that.
I think
watching mouse and
watching
eyes.
it.
Yeah, the one-on-one stuff was most exciting, but what'd you say, JC?
Watching the teams adapt to all the duos that were forced at the beginning matches.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah. Oh god, there's a
what
T95.
lower
I got it. Don't worry. Oh, nope.
He's looking directly at us. I got this. No, I really don't.
Oh, he's turning.
Someone,
Now I got it.
someone says, how bad is the T44? It's not bad at
It's
all.
not a bad tank at all. That's the thing.
It's amazing.
It's a good tank. It's just the fact that the 54 Mod 1 is like the 44, but with armor. Oh, my second ammo rack of the game.
Oh,
I ammo racked the E50 on about half health, and I just ammo racked a full health IS3.
nice. This is new to me, getting carried by Bushka.
You clown.
M16 Rusty.
Oh, dude, get out of town.
I did play. I only played 6 games yesterday. They were all in the 4190. I guess I call it that.
3K.
I won them all.
Did IS7? Or IS3, I mean.
Yeah, racked the IS3 after racking half of the E50.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, am I going to Tank Fest? I'd love to go to Tank Fest again, Anil. It will depend on if Wargaming come to the party on that one. That's all. We're a chance. We're a chance. Let's put it this way. I'll be agitating, right? I'll be agitating for it. I'll be making overtures to them. We'll see if it actually happens.
For all our
Toasted.
viewers who are not patrons, we are planning a big patron get-together.
Yes, there will be a lot of patrons going there, and I'd really like to be involved.
Hey Bushka, can you fast cap C and I'll go spot at B?
All right.
If only
Well,
Tank
I
Fest
would
wasn't.
say for I would say for a game that's mainly based around tanks and an event that's basically all about, you know, like how great tanks are, I would think that Wargaming would really want to be there.
Dude, they are there.
Oh,
They're
that'll be
massively there. They sponsor it. It is not that. It is just the fact that they take a lot of people. Like this year, they had they used it basically as, you know how we used Minsk with the developers to actually have chats and all that kind of thing. They do that, but they do that at Tank Fest with PC.
So it's just the fact if they want to take Bushka.
Yeah, exactly. I can't believe that I just actually got that shot in. I had to lead that tank by about 30 meters. I'm into that Predator, by the way, M16.
Oh God, what is he? I didn't even notice him.
He's
Oh,
enormous.
Yeah,
There's an
Let's look him
IS-6 coming up there as well.
yeah, I see them now.
I just had a lovely into the dirt, fully aimed experience. It was wonderful. I don't know if I want to move. I've actually got a lot of people popping up here.
As long as you got shots, don't move. Stay there.
But they're kind of not quite there, but they're coming, you know.
Oh my God, my gun's not cooperating. I'm going into tracks and everything but the tank.
Someone says, what do you think about the Japanese Type 61?
I really didn't like it the first time I played it. Daniel Esposito, who's one of the one of the subscribers on YouTube, who's been around for a long time, he constantly wanted me to redo it. I'm okay, I'm moving now, I've run out of shots. And so I did, and the second time around, I drove it, I went really, really well. But I think it still needs a buff. I think that I went really, really well because it basically, you know, it's got gun depression, and once you get to a certain level of ability in the game, if you have a nice gun and gun depression, you can kind of make love regardless. You know, you can make the action happen regardless. But if I'm honest, I think it should get a buff.
So I just dodged a shot there.
To me,
That-
the hack sticks out way too far.
Yeah, I said that. I did actually raise the Type 61. I said, like, I was having dinner and I said, what about the Type 61? It's got a weak spot on top of a weak spot. You're pulling the T110E5's coupler. Why can't you pull the Type 61's coupler? And they said, well, we're going to look at that. Basically, what they're doing, they're buffing up tier by tier. Now, it takes a lot of man hours to do all this stuff, right? And they can't get it all done at once. And plus, if you think about it, the way they buff and everything, as you buff tier 6, it then becomes an issue for tier 5 and tier 7 because they all see tier 6. So you buff tier 6, you see how it works out, and then you can move forward, right? They're going to be doing that all the way up, but tier 10 is going to be the big one. They are going to be completely rebalancing across tier 10. Thank you, JC Ware, by the way, for the donation. The gates are open, boys and girls, but I definitely... So how many days out did you have to order the dancing girls? Get out of town, you grub.
That's fine.
That... Yep. What's up, dude?
A question from chat. Someone toasted lemonade or something and wants to know if you could sing for him.
Okay, I will sing for you before the sing for you before the day is out. Okay, I promise you. I promise you.
Get your earmuffs out.
Bushka, need more Stroopwafels. Poop stain. Thank you very much, mate. Yeah, I did get some Stroopwafels from Martin Dogger. It's like chocolate on a waffle, dude. It's very, very good.
Oh, sounds awesome. Sounds American as hell.
But they're toasted
It sounds
hard,
German, but
toasted hard
sounds
biscuit
American.
waffles kind of thing. It is really good.
Oh,
That
there's
sounds
no way in
amazing.
hell.
It is
No
good.
way in hell we're getting these guys to go right.
Yeah, we're going left. I mean, it's up to you. I think it's
I
probably
mean, we can duke it out. It's just
yeah. Let's have some fun.
it's just a few guys above our weight class.
Yeah, a T49, a 44, an M46, and then the two guys from APCR are probably going to go right anyway.
Alright, so here's the plan. You're gonna bounce all the shots. And then you're gonna kill 'em all.
Okay, yeah, no, I like your plan. Use your HE.
Bushka in head first.
I mean, if you don't take damage, you can't lose, right?
Yeah.
All about that rotation.
I missed my first shot. Does that matter?
I mean, if you didn't take any damage.
Oh, I got that one. That was hilarious. That pattern's got a stock turret, by the way.
Yeah, nice.
T-44 is moving across on the left.
Yeah, he's occupado though.
T-49 wants some action.
I got a F-46. Suck it, pleb.
Don't you be like that, you grub. We both got him. Both got him. Did you HE him then?
No, I did not. I'm not focused on trying to switch to HE. I'm trying to not lag to death.
Okay.
Can I just say that shot on the M46 was absolute bollocks?
Yeah, I was wondering if someone else was going to notice that.
What the heck?
I don't know where that one went. Okay, we're scooting around, I take it. Oh, we'll just scoot straight across.
We got shots.
Yeah, okay. I just don't... I want to get up to the top of that railway line so I can shoot down. Because our IS-6 has gone all the way in. It's happening. Like,
oh, Lord.
It's going to happen whether we want it to or not, so I'm going in.
And I never want it to, but that always happens.
It always happens. This map is amazing. Oh, Bank! The Bank monster! He started the minion shred! Thank you, Bank.
Oh, that T-28's looking at me. How you doing? Don't look this way.
So we got any more questions there?
What's your favorite color?
Blue. Blue for boys.
Who else hates the speed nerf on the Vika?
Did you?
Yeah.
Did you manage to work in any? What the hell's up with the toaster question? That poor tank.
I did use it as my test case for why they need to make quality of life improvements to the game for lower level players. Was basically the toaster. Yeah, it was like, for those of you who haven't watched the live streams, thank you very much, by the way, Banky, for the $5 Deliros. If you haven't watched, this is not a paid advertisement, by the way, but if you're looking for another stream to watch, you should check out Bank on Twitch. He's a monster. Bank_CW from DDR. So my whole, and I know some of you have heard this, so I'm sorry if it's boring you, but anyway, my whole rationale, and this is a big part of what I did, and I find, this is why I take offense to people on YouTube and all that who get up me about being Wargaming's whore, or however you want to frame it, right? Because I basically have a sensible conversation with people, which amazingly brings a lot more results than saying, oh, I don't like this, you know, and having a big whinge, right?
You mean having a bitch fit doesn't work?
No, amazingly. So I had this whole conversation with the developer, their head developer of Blitz, and said, so you've got the toaster, you are starting off, it's a tough tank to drive well, and you're a bad player anyway because you're just starting the game. It's stock, you have 50% cruise skills, and you roll out. And you run into me in a tier 6 that has 100% cruise skills, full tier 7 cruise skill perks, so extra 21% camo, everything like that, fully equipped spare parts, and I know how to play, and I know how to run provisions, and I've got everything going on. You are going to get absolutely wrecked, and you are going to have no joy whatsoever. You are going to not like the game, and you are going to unsubscribe from your premium time and go and play something else. Surely there has to be a change.
Oh,
and
yeah, T-49.
We've all been through that.
Yeah, we've all been through that. I got a Type 59 coming for me over here. It's unfair. He's actually going to make me go one-on-one. And my point was, this has to be changed. Like, this cannot stay. Like, if you don't change this, it's going to be horrible. And, oh God, they're pushing really hard across there. And I'm just bouncing. I'm sorry, man. And I got a 59 coming up here on my left. This is not going to be good.
Oh, we got this. Don't worry about it. They're plebs.
Okay. You and your elitist attitude. Anyway, my whole point was, you've got to change this, because if you don't change it, you just lose people, you know? And you do. You really do just lose people. And I think they took that on board, and they also mentioned that one of the biggest things they're going to be doing, their biggest part of their roadmap coming up, is literally that they want to change the way that works in the game, because it's too hard for people and it's too difficult. And that got us onto the whole spare parts thing. Thank you for that. I'm assuming that was you.
Yeah.
Is that they're going to be changing all that. And I think we're going to look for a huge change to spare parts. They agree with that statement. Basically, they agree with how it all works. Spare parts are going to be definitely changed. I can tell you that right now. I looked at the way it works. I mentioned my idea was you earn spare parts, but it's because of that not being fair. How about the idea that you take all the spare parts that are within a line and you're allowed to advance them up to the next tank? So they wrote that down, like the guy from Wargaming was writing this stuff down, and they then discuss it. But the real takeaway for me is that none of this is going to happen overnight. This is a long-term thing, but they have a huge emphasis on simplifying the game for early tier players and making it an easier entry-level thing for them and making it a more equal playing field. So there you go. That's that question. I don't know what the first question was, but there you go. 10 minutes later. Yeah. The toaster.
Had something to do with making toasters, and then they'd always burning the toast too much or something like that.
Yeah, it was all about it.
The toaster didn't work as well as it should have. Something like that.
Oh, ratings. I had a huge... Okay, this is... Like, I was quite chatty. Let's just say that, which is no real surprise, I guess. I was quite chatty in that section. Oh, and I got him on the hatch! Sir Rainiff is not going to be happy with that one. Thanks for your hit points, Rainiff. Oh, our Bulldog wants the kill. Our Bulldog wants the kill, mate. He's willing to drive in front of 4 unspotted tanks to get it too. So my issue with ratings battles...
Oh my god, who went to the sea cut? This is why we can't have nice things.
Yeah, basically. What do you want to do here? Do you want to hold down here, or do you want to keep flanking?
I mean, they're coming around, so I'm going to put a couple shots in.
We got this T-28 Proto here. He could do really well.
Got him when he wasn't spotted. Sorry.
I'm gonna try and not hold, but at least spot this left-hand corridor. Because I have a feeling they're going to come around here, and this 28 Proto is going to get eaten alive if we don't give him some support. There he is. Yeah. So I basically said that ratings battles have the opportunity to be massive, and they want to turn ratings battles into a really big thing. And my point was, ratings battles are amazing, but you've got to make them into an event. You have to turn them into something that is different. And what about making it different tanks? And then they go, you mean, the guy said, if we made ratings battles tier 8, would you guys be interested? And we're all like, hell yeah, this is it. We want tier 8 ratings battles. We want that kind of difference. And they were really open to that and making ratings battles into a huge thing.
Bounce off the ass of an E25.
I saw that. I was wondering how he was alive.
Learn to aim, noob.
I'm sorry, I just bounced off the side of an IS. It was life.
And so they're right into that. Oh, look at that. That's beautiful. Backwards, forwards, backwards, forwards. So they were very, very receptive to that. I also made the point, and the guy from EU who was Haidu, I think it was, and this is when you get sat down pretty hard. I was saying how, you know, I got to 5k ratings and then I stopped because it was really just boring and there was nothing else to be gained from doing that. And then this guy from EU's going, yeah, I agree completely. Bushka's making a great point. When I got to 6k rating, I was just really gave up because it was just boring after that. And I'm like, yeah, that's not the point I was making. yeah, way to make me look bad. Thanks very much, Haidu, you clown.
That's great.
Yeah, throwing humble brag shade.
What was the driving force behind the timing change? Battle?
What do you mean, the timing change?
You can't, at least on the NA server, you can't play rating battles at certain times.
Ah, okay. Yeah. I think for them, they're kind of just got ratings sitting there open and they're going to make the changes, but they're trying to drive people in to make it a different game mode. G'day, Swiss Cheese. Well, good to see you alive. The big thing for me with ratings battles was that it's got to be an event. So I pushed that and I've said, if you make it different tiers and you make it a season where it's a short season, you then create a whole lot of hype around that. If you tell people a month out that it's going to be at tier 5, then people start grinding different tanks to play in that ratings meta. People start looking at different tanks. We get to do videos about the best tanks for that rating season. We get to talk about the meta in the last season, what the meta is going to be like in the next season. You know, and if you make something with the ratings where you start, because, and this is something else I was really big about, was how negative rating season was for people. Say you start at ratings and you win your first battle and you get put at 4,200. Now, I'm not saying that that is a good rating or a bad rating. That's neither here nor there. What I'm saying is if you are a new player to tier 10 and that you get put at 4,200, or if you're just not that great at the game and you get put at 4,200, that might be well and good, but you then have this horrible ratings experience where I start and I lose my first battle and I get put at 4,200. And you then get to play against a lot of players who may be better players than you, and you get to play against them. And, oh, sorry, M16. Great minds think alike. You go, dude. I'm happy just chilling.
No, you go first. I don't want to go.
Well, I can see there's 5 down there, so I'll just push. You then have this horrible negative experience where you lose 25 of your next 31, 32 games because you're basically the anchor on your team, and while people are ascending, you're going back down, and suddenly ratings is crap and your experience was negative and your feedback is negative and you don't like the game and it's a complete failure for you. And basically ratings should be a game where it's a positive and you enjoy it and it's a different game mode and it offers different things. So my point was, how about you make it so that when you start the rating season, if you were the season before at 5k like me, then you start the next rating season at...
Oh, I just took a shot to the track. I should have done a lot more damage.
You start the next rating season at 4,000. Whereas if you started the last rating season or finished the last rating season at 3,000, then you start the next rating season at 3,200 or something. So that you have... the tiers are a lot more defined and you end up in a situation where you can do a lot better because there is a far more effective playing field. And that's really, really cool because you then have like people that don't have this negative experience of spending their first 30 games going backwards, which is pretty freaking negative. Hey, like it's not something that people want to do. And it's not something that people should be forced to do. And it's, you know, a big change to the whole overall thing.
Another thing I've noticed with the ratings is it gets like people with say 5,000 like me or you get teams with up 2,000,
yeah,
or 2,800 or something, because it gets massively inflated by your rating. And then
low roll, excellent.
You get wrecked.
Yeah, I agree.
So they definitely need to change something on that.
Yeah, there's an SU-101 over there who's having a field day here. Okay,
yeah,
there we've got his spotter.
By him once or twice.
Yeah, me too.
I was under the impression that the rating after your first battle would be based off of your win rate from like the beginning, and then when everyone got like 4K rating to start, I was super confused.
Yeah, it was really silly, hey, and it was one of the worst things about it because, I mean, I had an account on NA that was a 0 win rate account, right? It was a contributor account, this thing, and no, it was on Asia actually, and it got reset. So I ended up being in ratings 3,200, okay? And yet on my other account, I was at rating 5,000. So it was really, really tough because it was basically all based on your first win. Like your first win or lose, had such a massive impact on your rating. So if you do that and you give them a different tier and you actually take into account, like in World of Warships, I got to rank 5 in my first season of ranked battles. So the next ranked season, instead of starting at rank 26, I started at rank 13. So straight away, it was competitive and everyone was playing smart and it was really intense and interesting. And you didn't really end up with anyone at that rank to start who hadn't had some kind of experience. And it's just something that makes it a lot more fun.
Did World of Warships Blitz ever get the global launch yet?
Still not launched. It's still not launched.
7 minutes from seafood.
They have a lot to work on still before they launch it.
It's 7 minutes in here from Russia.
Yeah.
Hey, yeah! Ahoy! 7 minutes, C4. Rock on, buddy. Great to see you. They are pretty awesome, as you can probably tell.
Sounds pretty mediocre to me. Why not 8 minutes? Go for gold.
Yeah, 6 minutes. You could do it in 6 minutes. That was one thing that really impressed me was how, because I did a podcast today with Benny from Legion, and one of the things that really impressed me was they didn't have a lot of choice, the guys, like for training and for scrimmages. They kind of had to play each other. So all these teams, like, played each other, you know? Like, while they were in Minsk, they practiced against each other. I thought that was brilliant. I'm not trying to get the T-54 lightweight nerfed. Okay, this is a fallacy. I can tell you without a shadow of a doubt that I did not get the VK2801 nerfed. I asked the actual guys who make the bloody game if they'd seen my VK2801 video, and they said no. So you can't blame me for that. What I said to the guys in the development team was that it didn't make a lot of sense that you had these tanks like a 54 lightweight that weighed twice as much as the AMX 1390, yet had armor and was better in terms of terrain resistance and all that kind of thing, and could move quicker. It made no sense to me, and they said, well, that's realism, because, you know, realism is our god. And I said, well, what do you call the lupus? And I mean, because, you know, everyone's been desperate to ask those kind of questions, and that got us into a whole premium tank balance thing that went on for about 15 minutes, which was pretty freaking cool. The M41 Bulldog just said spot team. Did you see that?
I just bounced a shot.
No, but our M41 Bulldog is saying spot team, and he is in a light tank. Love it.
He's a sniper.
Pleb's gonna pleb.
I'm into this KV5. Probably should have pulled back a bit before I made that shot, so that I don't get hit.
You're fine. Perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong could ever happen.
Okay, I'm pushing up around to the left, so I can get more side shots in, because side shots are fun shots.
Oh, Vindicator hit me, that hurt. Good thing you didn't have HE loaded.
There we go.
That's a Borsig.
Oof, says the Vindicator. I love him. Oof. It's like a...
Just bounced off the T-23-3. What the... Oh god, people are shooting me instead of other teams. Say some badness. Not that. Stop it. I'm going back.
Should be able to get another shot in that KV5. Where's your R2D2? There you go. If you guys are ever wondering what to do for a career, the radio operator in a KV5, they're always looking for new radio operators.
Just like drivers of IS-8s?
Yeah. Just apply. No experience required.
Blitz doesn't use the radios though, does it?
No, I'm just saying that's the dude who sits in there, you know, in the R2D2.
Always dead in...
That's why it's completely expendable.
PC. Yeah. Speaking of PCs, I might be getting one in the next few months.
Very, very exciting.
Anything spectacular in mind?
No, my friend's gonna sell me his. He says I've seen it. It says it runs 4K.
Oh, nice.
Pretty easily, and I'm gonna be getting it for like $900. So, pretty good deal. I do save some myself.
John Lols, I didn't hear anything specific about the M48 pattern. Yeah, sorry, mate.
48 is fine to me.
Yeah, they've buffed that pretty hard over the last wee while, and it's doing really, really well in my opinion.
Bushka,
Yeah.
One thing they've accomplished.
did you ask about the M60?
No, I didn't. I really...
Spill the beans on the algorithm?
No, I really, really want to know, but I didn't ask. I should have asked. It's one of those things I've come back and gone, gee, I wish I had have asked.
Are they releasing it again? That's what I knew that.
Yeah. That did come up in the bus, in the chat with, I was on a bus with the Legion kids, the Legion people, and that came up. It's hard not to call everyone kids when you're that much older.
Yeah.
I'm spotted. I'm kind of reading the chat. Oh, this 69 is coming, regardless. He just doesn't care. He's coming. He's going to drive into that rock. He's just going to get all the shots he can into Bushka before he dies.
Shot me.
That's because I hid, dude. I hid.
That's because I was hiding from a Jag Panther too. Can't help it.
Yeah, that take us
I saw Cameron. You said you want bigger maps, artillery, more players. Honest to God, dude, go and play PC.
No, go away.
Go and play
Go away
PC.
if you want to play.
Bigger maps does not mean people get more flexible and get more action. All it means is that people actually camp more. Honest to God.
Yeah, like you should see PC. It's an absolute camp.
It is an absolute camp fest. I've had so many. I'm not trying to speak ill of PC, right? I had so many people tell me that Blitz isn't as good as PC. Once you've played Blitz for a while, you go and play PC and you cannot deal with the static. It is so slow. Like, Blitz is just this glorious, glorious action-paced game. And it's built for things like esports. You go and play PC, and if you've watched PC tournaments before, the amount of fixed positions and slow play, I'm not saying it's a bad game, I'm just saying it's a very different game. But once you've been playing Blitz for a while, it's hard to switch back to that and deal with it. Really hard.
Yeah, it really is. I can attest to that. I've tried.
I'm interested in physics and other game modes.
Yeah, they did ask about physics. The problem with
They
physics...
ask about standard game mode, because there's like, it's weird that we don't get standard game mode, but we get like encounter and
Standard as in
that's
like
about
a
it. Well, no standards, like each team has their own captain.
Yeah, they didn't talk about that, but they did say in a roundabout way that they're going to bring in another game mode. They did say that.
Oh, okay.
Assault,
Yeah.
maybe?
Yeah,
Assault would be fun.
yeah, but
Assault
they
one
didn't.
team.
They didn't specify what it was. Hey Juju, by the way, good to see you in here, buddy.
What's up? Sorry,
this
I'm
scumbag.
muted. I got the kids going crazy.
Oh, that was
here,
Juju.
so I'm just-
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that was me. That was me. Yeah, I can speak because I play Xbox time to time, and it's the same as PC. It's a huge camp fest. Hey. 1 minute.
Who's that? Who's that?
He's jumping over the,
Which-
that's, my 3-year-old Harper and my 17-month-old Miss Emerson.
Emerson's there. Give her a kiss, mate. She's a good girl. Where are we going? M16 left. Cool.
Left.
I've been, because we got so many lights and mediums, I've been shucked into the heavy area here, so I'm going to take the run of death along the ridgeline above the canal.
Just don't suck, you'll be fine.
Yeah, I'll try my best.
This is Bushka we're talking about that.
Oh yeah,
It
shit.
just sound like playing Discord anyways.
Yeah, telling Bushka not to YOLO is like...
You sound like you're in like a chapel.
Dude, this is something else that I find pretty funny. I see this on the NA forums all the time, where people are like, oh man, you know, I don't watch Bushka, I can't handle that, he's too passive. They don't watch the videos or the streams. It's pretty hilarious. I get in so much strife for YOLOing, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's pretty much a complete op.
Stop
That's where you
shooting.
gotta
Ooh.
bounce
What
likes
was
on your
that?
video. There's one dislike, somebody always has to be the saltiness, you know?
Stop shooting.
But
man.
I mean, you can call me out for a lot of
that.
stuff. Like, I often miss shots because I refuse to stop using auto-aim and I'm lazy, or I just don't really pay attention. And I overuse Premo because, you know, I just don't care. I'll just pen. I'm more interested in penning than not. But at this, how is that mod 1 still alive?
I don't know. I bounced off him like twice, and Centurion, he decided to roll in front of me. He's like, oh, he's gonna be a good guy and block my shots. And he's like, no, I'm gonna go around the team.
I am bouncing off a lot of tanks here. That is not the tank that I want to see here. Oh, and look, no gun depression. I'm gonna get wrecked for this.
Yeah, I also got hit by a T-49. That didn't feel good either. Ooh,
Okay.
shot, kill him.
Do it.
I'm gonna ram you.
Get on round. If you can pull this off, I'll give you $5.
There's no way I'm pulling this off, dude.
Oh yeah, someone says, what about the physics? You got cut off.
Oh yeah, I asked
Yeah,
about the
that's-
physics, and they legit are looking at physics, but the issue for physics isn't that they don't want it, it's that if they do it, they've got to do it for all tanks individually, and it's just a huge amount of man hours, that's all. 2, What the hell? That's one of those
I
ones
just
where
saw
I got tracked as I was doing it. Too many. Yeah. They want to do the physics, right? But to do it,
He's AFK.
yeah.
He's not. He's just bad. Okay, cool.
If you, for instance, say you want to do the physics on the M41 Bulldog, it doesn't automatically go to the cruel twist. It just doesn't work like that. You've got to do them individually for each tank and balance them for each tank. So it's not just like a short-term project. It's a massive, massive project that, because they haven't been doing it as they add tanks and they haven't done it from day one, it's now like way tougher. After it's like you've built the whole house and then you want to add in new windows, and it's like, well, now we've got to take all the windows out and do them one at a time, rather than just, we could have just put in the ones you wanted right at the start. So it's actually a big issue.
I think maybe they should confine that to like tier 7 and up. Like,
That's actually a pretty good. I wish I had a thought of that at the time, because that would have been a great thing to say.
Yeah, but what about when the tier 7s are going against the tier 6s? The tier 7s
Yeah,
the crazy
yeah.
But the tier 6s won it.
Yeah, it
So,
doesn't
like,
make
the
any.
tier
You
6s
can't.
could just,
You,
they could, like, rank
I
the
love
tier
that
7
JC.
mediums and then
I
put
love
them
that
over.
JC. Yeah, they can figure something out. Next.
you pay 'em. Come on now.
That's
Next.
what we pay them for.
Yeah.
+0, -0 matchmaking for 7 and up. Let's do it.
Hey, somewhere in my credits for paying for dancing girls, they could get me physics.
That was crazy. Hey, how? And the other thing that was really odd about the. Oh, and by the way, I'm going to be posting up an edited version of the Twister Cup. I asked Wargaming, I'm allowed to, so I'll be posting that up probably today or over the weekend. Which,
6 hours?
yeah, it's going to be a lot less than 6 hours. So we got that going for us. We're going to be able to actually see everything as it happens, rather than, fast forwarding through. So if you're looking for a stream of that, it's 1 hour and 30 minutes. I've got everything cut apart from the finals. I kind of let the finals roll, which is cool.
But they're pretty smooth by the finals.
Yeah.
7 fake grump.
Where are we off to here?
Can you go Captain B?
Yeah, I'm on it. Is there anything? Yeah, Swiss Cheesel, you are such a little wine bag, you grub. Because they don't want to do physics because it would take effort. Yeah, that's exactly it. So here's the thing. It's resources. It's like any business. If you guys have ever worked for a living, you're like, it would be great in our business if everyone got a massage when they walked in through the door. Well, here's the key. It takes money to do that. Like, you've got to actually use real money to pay people. So if you're getting them to do physics, then you're not doing balance. You're not doing new game modes. You're not sorting ratings battles out. You're not looking at spare parts. You're not doing all this other stuff. So physics is great, and that's all cool, but it means that you're taking away from something else that would be happening in the game. I'm going to try and help this SP1C. I don't know.
I haven't seen my premium tanks then. I have enough premium tanks to fund someone's Lamborghini.
Yeah. Well, I think they also rob Peter to pay Paul with this. So PC would be paying for a lot of the startup on Blitz, obviously. And now, the SP1C. I came over here to help him. There's a T49 there, and he still comes out to try and get a shot. So he's dead. Thanks very much.
How are we down?
It's a minute and a half in. Oh, the SP1C is not happy. So I've done nothing here apart from cap. And now I've pushed up, and they've moved. I have a feeling I won't be hard to find tanks to hit, though.
49's coming for me. Ooh, hit his track. Come at me, heathen.
Yeah, I'm dead. There's now an IS-6 and an IS-3 there. Hit him, but did not pen. Oh, I reversed incorrectly. I was trying to get behind that rock, and I missed it. Yeah, too many tanks, like all the tanks. Well, we've been winning a lot. We were due to have this happen.
Yeah, we're due for an ass kicking.
Yep. It happens.
Can't they just port it from pre-C and release it nerfed to shit? They're pretty good at that. Swiss, you clown. It's a different freaking... You can't just port, like... can't you just port Windows into Mac and then release it and just, if it's buggy, it'll be fine. Jesus, wet. No, they can't do that, you clown.
So what were they saying about the new military honors?
I didn't really pay attention to that. I don't care about military honour. I just don't care. It's one of those things that people get really upset about, but I find it such a...
Actually, one thing I have noticed with that military honor, though, is there's less toxicity than there was.
Yes, that's what I think it's really all about.
That's what it's designed to do, yeah. It seems to be working. Like, on the NA server, it's a lot less. There's still, you get caught idiots. But...
Just wait until you do something dumb when you're on my team.
Thank you very much, Sonda Gaming, you machine. Love you, mate. Thank you for the donation.
Now, one player asked a few questions back. What is Super Chat?
Okay, Super Chat. Basically, if you're on YouTube and you click on the little button down the bottom, which is like a $sign, you can put a Super Chat up with a message. Everyone sees it, and it stays up the top for a while, and it's a way of donating. And why is this T43 pushing me? Like, what does he want to do there?
Because God doesn't love you.
There's no one there, mate. I've got the view range, and if they are there, they're behind a tree. But go for your life, Homer Gamer.
So what are you saying, guys? Other than the tip money he hustled Twister,
yeah,
how he paid the light.
That's exactly right. That Yag Panther 2, is that you?
I spotted him. Found him maybe.
I mean, I heard he was cleaning hotel rooms for the teams and all sorts of stuff just to make a scratch.
That 44 is coming pretty hard, mate.
I heard he got quite comfortable with a pole.
There's no Poles, only Czechoslovakians and former Soviet socialist republics.
What? That's okay.
This T-44's got me stuck here. I can't really do anything else to anybody.
Where? Let me at him.
They really flew him in the night before to put the stage up, hanging around.
He's going to come out again. This guy loves it.
I like the behind-the-scenes video.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. I enjoyed doing that. It was a lot harder to do than normal. This 44 is literally just sitting there waiting for me to turn up. Has not moved his gun. There is no way I can come out there.
Just take one for the team.
Yeah, I'll see if I can actually
Mark
jerk it out of him.
Safely?
Yeah, he did.
Last time I saw it, he had a beer in his hand.
Firing promo into a T20. Someone's going to rage about that on YouTube.
Keep bouncing on the IS-6. I'm just going to start switching. Ooh, can I pen the side of it? I can't.
I'm in a horrible spot.
You're fine. As long as I can farm damage, we're all good.
Yeah, you're in the farming
This
damage
IS
spot.
is not moving.
Swiss is a hero of the moment. Hey,
What's he
there,
doing? Here is my so you can say my opinion is valid one time. Well, Swiss is right. Maxi's mum is a very good looking
oh my God,
woman.
I cannot hit that T20's low plate. I don't understand.
This T-44 is still here. Every time I move forward even slightly, I get spotted.
Where is he?
He's got me again. He's just not moved, dude.
I'll take him out.
Bushka.
I got him.
It's like clicked over to 1,000 and he just sat there the whole time. I love you, Swizzle. I love you, man. You just, you know, you just can't always be right. Just most of the time, mate. And can you tell Goose to accept my friend request as well, Juju? Oh, is Juju still here? He's probably had to go off and look after children or something like that.
8100 wants me to tell you that he's your biggest fan.
Eggy 100.
8,100. 8100.
Okay. Thank you, amigo. Love you too. I'm just having a look here. Indeed, she is a lovely specimen.
Wait, why is that? Oh, right, I forgot.
News, 4 news. Oh, I've been praised. Excellent.
Yeah, I've actually got upvotes instead of like 30 downvotes for telling people they're plebs.
You've got to get out of that, you grub.
can't help it when someone argues with me about the proper way to go on a map in a certain situation. I'm just like, no, just don't be stupid. And they're like, nah, I'm not stupid. And they end up downvoting me because it's tough.
Oh, yes, the
Well,
whole
you
thing
get those
is
lovely,
picking up a break.
lovely notifications now.
Oh, I kind of like that. So if someone downvotes you, you'd be like, ooh.
I had a
got a
game
downvote.
earlier where I was in easy 8.
Are we going to be
and
aggressive
I
here?
died quickly.
We're going to be aggressive here. We're being aggressive
You're
here.
gonna be aggressive. I'm gonna stay my ass right here. Alright, now we can be aggressive. We can't be.
But don't tell anyone on the NA forums because I'm very passive. It's like, this is my play style. Super passive.
Camping noob.
Back to that military honor thing. For those of you who are wondering, who are watching, my whole issue with military honor is pretty straightforward. It's basically that it's a placebo to stop toxicity within the game without, oh wow, he's got really low crew skills. I think I'm still unspotted. No, okay. Did I miss that thing where I got spotted? I swear to God I didn't get a light bulb. I might have been so hung up on the sound of my own voice. Wouldn't be a new one.
It is a good sound.
So basically military honor is like we're talking about with physics, the resources that a company has to deal with stuff. When you're
Why? Who bumped me? Freaking tiger.
when you're getting like a whole buttload of complaints every day and you've got to physically have people deal with them, that lowers the amount of time you can have people deal with other things, and that means that, you know, it's not that effective. Has he fired that IS?
Our IS?
No, never
Their
mind.
IS.
Their IS. Here I am side scraping in my light tank because Russian. He's still in B. I'm going to wait till he gets proxy spotted. He's going to get spotted in a sec. Hopefully we've got a T20 coming through there.
We'll have to go kill the Carnarvon, and then or the ISU, then the Carnarvon.
Oh, I'm going to just bounce shots. And then over angle.
By the-
At least
by
I
the
know
way,
what I'm
Matt
doing
is
wrong.
breaking curfew by being up and watching the stream.
Matt.
Oh, God.
We need to push. This isn't gonna end well if we don't push.
They're all here, dude.
Yeah, I know. Trying to kill these guys quickly.
I got 3 on me here. I can maybe get another one in on this IS as he comes across. No, he's not being.
Let's kill the ISU.
He's playing competently. It's really annoying. he refused to play incompetently. I was quite distressed there. That kind of sucks.
Yeah, I got you. I'll go save you.
Well, you can just kill them. That would be. Oh! Don't turn. Oh, okay. This could end.
Bye.
Oh! Oh! That was great. T-34 still turret turning. Oh! Drive on. That's gonna hurt.
Nah.
Is he gonna shoot? Eventually? Gotta get around him. Oh, he
Matt
stopped.
wants his graphic, Bushka.
It's coming, it's coming, it's coming. I'm just engrossed. There we go, Matty. Get to bed, you grub. Get to bed.
There you go. Can you say hi to Bushka? Say hi.
Hey! Hello! Is that Emerson? Or is it
It
Harper?
is.
Hello,
Yeah,
Emerson.
listen. She's got my other earbud in her ear and she's been listening.
Oh my god, what is that tiger doing?
You have traumatized her.
Bye, Bushka. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Well, I aced it.
Oh, massive.
Yeah, Bushka, I was just wondering if I could say something about the military honor system.
Hang on 1 second. Can we just acknowledge the fact that that's nearly 5k in a lightweight, in a light tank in a tier 8 game? That's massive M16. Big game. Big
I
game.
low rolled on the Indian Panzer, else he would have died, but we still would have lost because they hit 1,000 cap points.
Yeah, they got the cap. The Tiger was conserving his hit points for later in the game.
Ah, makes sense.
Yeah.
Gotta always not take damage at all
Yeah.
costs.
Yeah. Go to bed, Matt.
You only care,
Go to bed.
I carry Bushka so much.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, it's very like I was completely. Yeah, I was, mate. I've got to say, it's a bit tough at times to be playing with me in a platoon. when I'm not really focusing on the game. I had no idea I was spotted there. I was like, oh, the light bulb hasn't gone on. He must have low crew skills, but obviously the light bulb had gone off. I was just reading YouTube chat. My bad.
Yeah,
Sorry,
I saw
M6 dude.
I saw it go off when you were backing down the hill.
Yeah. My bad.
So, what is your streaming schedule plans for the next week?
We're going to be going Sunday NA time. Then we're going to be going Tuesday NA time, and then Thursday NA time, like this stream here, around about 5:30 West Coast. I think it's we haven't gone to.
Just to point out for you, Thursday will be Thanksgiving in a day.
Oh, will it? Well, we'll be streaming.
Oh my
Major
God!
holiday.
Look at that enemy team.
That's today, isn't it?
Oh God.
Next week.
Oh, next week, right?
So,
Just so you guys who can't see this, there are
Wow.
2 RUs, 2 T49s, an AMX 1390, a T20, and a T23-3 on the enemy team.
What the
Wow.
Hey, Chi. Lord of the
I actually feel like, and I do, I think I've got just about the best armor profile in the game outside of the IS3 and the KV3. Awesome.
Yeah, even that's debatable because you can actually wiggle
Yeah.
quickly, bounce.
Although it won't help me if the T49s get a hold of me.
Nah, it'll be fine.
Can't be HE.
Lucky we don't have physics, because we'd be less 113.90. That was very fun.
God, physics are gonna screw me up if they ever come. Cause I'm just gonna be like, oh hey, I can't do this anymore. Oh, they're on B. They're on B.
Yeah.
Spoon 'em.
is
Spoon 'em.
Wargaming looking satisfied about their current community structure?
Just
the way
shoot.
they've
Just
centralized
shoot.
stuff?
I'm spotted. I'm spooted.
What do you mean, JC?
Well, the way they centralize who our community
Oh,
reps are.
yeah, okay.
I'm going around to the right.
I think
Probably
they're
better,
pretty
yeah.
happy with it. It's still very early days, and as things get better and change, that's gonna change as well. Oh bugger! I just found him. Found an RU. I'm now in a
Can't see
position
the
that I
dog right now.
really don't want to be in.
Well, what I liked about this Twister Cup, it wasn't bootstrapped to a PC event like New York.
No, it wasn't. It was definitely its own thing.
That was good to see.
And it's got. Oh yeah, we got double tap.
Sorry, hang on, JC. I just got to focus here because I am actually in a situation where a lot of good things could come or a lot of bad things could come.
T49's behind you. T49's behind you.
Yeah, I'm
T49's
driving forward. I'm driving forward. I'm driving forward. Oh my god.
Yeah, I didn't have an early warning system, so I got bitch slapped. Yeah, good shit.
Oh, now there's a
He's
lot.
all-
There's a medium behind me. Who's that? Oh, there's a lot behind. Okay, they've gone up there. I'm going to duck around down the bottom.
Do it. Well, we're winning. These T49s are about to. I don't know what they're doing. The KV3's going hunting them. So is our RU.
Well, they're running into the right tanks at least.
There he is. Get him. Get him, RU. Oh, the KV3's backing up. Bounced a heat shot.
Oh, he's gone down there. We've still got a 1390 coming up the top here on the left of me. A little
Yeah,
bit
this
wary
is-
about getting stuck up here, but there he is. Nice. So there's no
This
one
enemy
else
team
left
honestly
there.
Never really had a chance.
Yeah, they really didn't play to their strengths.
Not at all. They all bunched up in a corner, trying to corner fight heavies. Oh, why are you going out into the open when T49s are there? It's not a good idea. It's not good for your health.
Yeah, I'm getting into this guy.
But can you make it out no damage? He's gonna shoot the 1390 anyways.
I'm going to.
Nice. Meanwhile, I get
Okay.
double tap. Hi, what were you talking about?
Yeah, had to actually pay attention there for that one. 49s will do that to you. It's like a jolt of smelling salts. Like, T49. Where are they? Yeah, the current community structure. So a few balls were dropped, obviously, because like I was doing my Twister Cup stream for NA, and they forgot to invite me to the room and all that kind of stuff. But I mean, I think it's like any big corporate mob, the changeovers. People have to be assigned to things, and that was a really tough issue. So I think it's better now. There definitely seems to be more interaction on the forums, particularly the NA forums from EU guy, the guy who's running things for the. And I met him and had a good chat to him. Is it Zloid, I think, or?
Zloid is the.
Yeah.
He's Russian.
Yeah, he's Russian. They're all Russian. It's all being run out of Minsk. I also raised the fact that the bat chat needs more ammo, and that it was ridiculous that the bat chat had to deal with things like ammo paucity, yet T-54s and T-62As can run around with 70 rounds in a thing, which is kind of nuts. They're pretty happy with clip damage at the moment. They won't be changing the Foch, even though I pointed out that it's like a poor man's Object 268. They just said that's kind of something you got to live with. We won't be bringing a clip damage in. And when someone was talking about the clip, changing the clip to a 2-shot with 25 seconds reload, they said if it was a 2-shot, you'd have to have the reload at something more like 40 seconds, and that would kind of make it a bit rubbish. What's this IS-5 like? Is he good?
I don't know.
Because he's in a really...
I'm just capping and hoping I draw them out.
Yeah.
That's my usual strategy.
Yeah. Oh, Jelly 12T is watching the stream. Great. At least he's on our team. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Noah brings up one of the pet peeves we were talking about last night, asking if there's a difference between a cruel twist and KPFW, other than confusing the hell out of player base sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah. There's no difference apart from the
Literally a
camo, which is a big punish too. I find it quite difficult in game. Well, I don't really now once you get used to them, but I think that's a big part of why people play them.
What is it with these Russian light tank, or not Russian, German light tanks, and having a horrendously slow shell velocity?
Yeah, it's grubby, isn't it? I don't like it much.
Bad, man. I got a joke. I got a dad joke for you.
Oh God. There we go.
Why couldn't the lifeguard save the hippie?
Why?
It's too far out, man.
Oh God. Oh God.
You know you love it.
I'm just going to spot this guy. There's somewhere here on the left. Oh, found an SU.
Actually, one thing I am enjoying with this game lately is...
Am I spotted? I don't think I'm spotted.
pen is back.
Yeah, and that's big, hey. The change to heat rounds has been massive. Oh, that IS-5's in strife. Alright, I'm going to set up here to give that IS-5 a bit of a hand. The SU has to come out, hey. He's just dying for it.
Snake wasn't here to hear you say that, because that would lead to a 15-minute conversation.
Well, Snake has real issues, I find, that aren't real issues. Like, the T-54 still freaking works. You have to change the gun and get the high pen gun and run calibrated shells, but then you've got a really, really good tank.
Yeah, it doesn't have the DPM it used to, but
Nah.
often firing on the reload.
Yeah.
That's why
All the time.
Extra pen on the Leopard makes that tank crack. I actually sold it after they nerfed it.
I got him. GP.
I'm really enjoying mediums at the moment. They've been improved a little bit by all the pen heat on heat, and I think that was.
Can we appreciate the fact that the Death Star has more HE pen than mediums do standard now?
Yeah.
If you have the calibrated shells.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Being able to pen the lower glacis in instances of the IS-7 with Hesh.
Yeah, it's I don't know why they added extra 10% to HE.
Well, I think it's one of those things where it's very hard to do that individually, and they looked at things and they would have seen the performance of HE overall was low. So they add that, and then the guys at the top of the tree get a whole lot of joy, and the guys who are at the bottom get the right kind of balance. But they did say, like I was having dinner with the guy, and I said, you know, the heat makes the Jagdpanzer 100 now a very, very interesting tank. It's got 460 heat. It can pen...
460?
Yeah, 462 millimeters of pen on its heat. It can... Wow, my fingers are just too old for that crap. I saw the shot. I knew what I wanted to do. I told the thumb to press it, and he was behind the railway car. And he said that they were going to look at it, you know? They were going to look at it.
Yeah.
Bastard. Oh, I bounced off the... We'll bounce the Panther shot.
I'm coming, I'm coming, I'm coming, I'm coming, I'm coming.
No, go away.
Dropping adrenaline. If I can get in front of you, I will. There we go. Oh, you're back. You're okay. That was completely uncalled for. Have some hit points for free, guys. Hope you like them. Not like I'll use them for anything useful.
Nope. Oh, I missed. I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die. Yeah, I died. Why did our heavies go left when I told them to go right? This is why we can't have nice things. What is our Dracula doing over by the heavies anyways?
He's clearly an expert level tactician.
Why are they...
I just need one average alpha roll here. That'd be nice. Thank you.
Sean or
below
Don,
average.
what does he do better than AP?
It's better against plate. Against flat plate.
What is this T20? Is this T has to be lagging? He has to be. There's no way.
Oh, dude. I'm not going there. Dude. SP1C behind me.
I think that question.
Reverse side scrape, reverse side scrape, reverse side scrape.
He's shooting at the T29. He's reloading now. So if he pops out. Oops,
Oh, they're all there. Oh!
Run away. Run, bitch.
Don't worry, I'm doing... Oh, he's so fast! Who made it that fast? Unacceptable! Oh, I blew it! I blew it! Don't do it! Oh, there's someone else in front of me too! There's too many! Oh, dude.
Dracula can do it though.
He can, totally. Like, he's got 2 one-shots there.
He's not going to do it. Based off his choices earlier in the game. It's not gonna
Bounce. No!
Oof.
There's someone behind him.
And,
IS-5.
oh, ha.
Dude, come on. What are you
Why are
doing?
you not shooting? But he's at one shot though.
Yeah.
He's a dummy.
Sideways is a good thing to do. But at least we got close.
Strongest armor first.
Now, Bushka, that question about what does he do better than AP brought up a point you were making in one of our outside conversations about so much stuff to learn for a new player.
Yeah. Yeah, massive amounts. And I mean, they had said they had 2 big things for their roadmap coming up, and that was one of them, was making it easier for new players. That's basically just the big picture stuff for them, and then the way they balance is going to be basically tier by tier. So you're going to see a lot of, like, they've been doing a lot of it. They're going to balance as they go forward. I'll just run through. I just found Goose from Purple gave me a whole heap of stuff.
Who's that?
It just Stutsk. And I'll run through just some of the stuff he made. And he wanted to get the 183 nerf, which was pretty funny. And he made all these notes, and one of the funny things was the way he made them was quite funny. Like, he's going, no 183 nerf incoming, dash, space, unfortunately. Like, he's given his own little acerbic comments at the end of it. Team comp restrictions will only apply to ratings battles. They're not planning on changing that, so that's why we get those weird things like we saw before M16 where we had 5 light tanks on the other team. No confirmed love for the Foch 155 coming, but there is a possible decrease of TDs per team in randoms, but they're going to look at the data on that first. That's the big one, because basically, you know, you get, particularly at tier 10, we've all had it, where you start off and you have 5 TDs on one team and 2 TDs on another, and it's just like, oh god, it's either going to be horrific or easy.
I had a video where there was 6 TDs, and then the only heavy tank was because it was platooned with one of the TDs.
Yeah.
And we stomped them because it just kind of sat around a corner. Yeah,
it sat in the middle of spawn kind of thing. There's more AMXs coming by the end of the year, and they will be the last French tanks added. And the
30B?
Yeah, I believe so. Ooh. But that's like, it's not.
Wild.
Yeah, it's not done yet. There's
Any
no
Japanese heavy love.
Yeah, I mean, Chinese tanks was something they're really looking at adding. Not Japanese heavy so much, because they've also just released. They're going for an official release in China of a full Blitz client kind of thing, whereas they've had kind of a weird Blitz client out there up until now.
Speaking of Chinese tanks, what have you heard anything about the 121B? I heard many different.
Yeah, 121 dates still unannounced. I think it's coming. I just don't know when.
I think it hit the Bulldog. I'm not sure.
I heard there was going to be a premium one as well. That's like an M60 type of deal. But
yeah, you're typing exactly what I was thinking, mate. You can see where I'm going. I'm setting up for the back entry, if you know what I'm saying. I'll try and spot these guys up as they come down without getting wrecked, but there's a light tank in there as well. What else? So here's something. They're working on exploding turrets, but it's very difficult for them to make it compatible on all devices. But they're working on it, and they want it just, they want that. That's one of the cool things, like if you played PC, where the turret goes flying off kind of thing. That's all really exciting. Here comes a 54 lightweight.
That seems to go to a physics question too.
Any chance of a hand here with this guy?
I bounced.
He's going to ram me for some reason.
I, for one, cannot wait for the E5 buff.
They're buffing the E5 for once?
Yeah, well, they're...
T110 E5, they're removing the...
Oh, I hit his track. Awesome. And I'm about to get run into... My God, like, this was coming from 10 miles out, and they're still up there in the right-hand corner of spawn.
I was telling them to turn around for like 3 solid minutes.
Look at our Borsig. He's up the top in their spawn. Like, with shots on... I'll tell you how many people he's got shots on. 1 VK4502A if he's not an idiot. No, he's got no shots at all. Hang on. The VK may actually change that. Let's go down and watch an M16. Yeah, so they're removing the coupler on the T110E5. Czech tanks will be coming, but they don't, again, no time frame on that. We asked, this is so funny, one of the things that everyone talked about as wanting was like the marks of excellence or little clan tags and all that kind of thing. And they just can't do it at the moment, but everyone wants it. Like, everyone wants... We all talk about balance and everything, but if you're able to put, like, Bushka on the side of your tank, I'll throw my wallet at him. And I told them that. I said, literally, if you can let us have individual clan tags and stuff, I'll give you all the money. And they laughed, and they're like, we just can't do that yet. It's because of the game client, the ability to do that. We can only really put simple patterns in, and that's how we work. But yeah, maps. Here's something else you need to know. Maps take about 27 to 33 weeks for wargaming to produce per map. Yeah. That's like, I went in the map room and there's like 5 guys in the map room, 4 of them working just on making the maps basically. and they're working non-stop like 8 to 10 hours a day on maps, and we're getting like one every 6 months or 3 months minimum, because it takes them that long to do it. It's really tough. Because they don't just like, it's not like they just put some rocks and that in and say go. If you sit down with them, the way they look at it is so fine, like the detail where they go up and they know that if you are in a tank with 8 degrees of gun depression, this spot will work. If you're in a tank with 7 degrees of gun depression, this spot won't work, and it's only going to work on that area just there. So because there's a rock just between your sight line for the area either side of spawn. It's like if you think of Rockfield, and this was the example we talked about, when you're in the sniper area near the A cap on Supremacy, and there's people on the other side of the map pushing on the outside of the hill, that area is all broken, and you can see there's a lip. So for certain tanks, they're just above the lip, and for others, they're underneath it. And then there's areas where there's rocks, and you get perfect shots, and then they're gone because there's a rock in the way. None of that is accidental. That is all them like doing massive amounts of testing with different tiers of tanks, different heights, different speeds, different time frames. So where will people be 30 seconds after spawn is? What position will you be able to get to 30 seconds after the game starts, as opposed to the enemy team? Where are the enemy heavy tanks going to be after that time frame? Is that going to be in balance for one side of the map? That kind of macro detail is why maps take so long. And when people go, oh, bring back the old maps, they would not work in the current meta. Like, there would be such overbalanced areas in those current metas. And the other thing that really got my goat, or gets my goat, is when people say it was so awesome back when Desert Sands was the original. And I looked at the freaking heat maps on these maps from 3.1 through to 4.4, and it was the most boring, static, crap gameplay humans could possibly have. The most shots that were taken, they had, like, when it's a big circle, that's where someone's firing from a lot. They were all in spawn. So you had most of the shots taken in game were from spawn. People who say that was good need to go and give themselves a freaking uppercut in the mirror and realize that they are playing the game with one hand in a bag of chips. It was absolute pants. And now they showed...
Sometimes...
Yep.
Sometimes I like to just, snack while I'm...
Yeah, exactly.
You know what? Sometimes I want to eat cheeses, mate.
Yeah. Swizzle, man, these heat maps were disgusting. It made me want to vomit. Like, you are looking at Winter Malinovka's heat map, and it was spawn and the windmill. That was where everything on the game was played, and nothing was played anywhere else. We just had a game on Winter Malinovka where all the action took place in the lower tier. I mean, that tier never got touched. The other one that was really disgusting was Oasis Palms. Old Oasis Palms. Oh my God. Oh my dear God.
2 hills on either side, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it was.
But 75% of the time, not the shots fired, but time spent. Okay, this is a different map they've got to look at. It wasn't 75%, but it was a big number. Was just spawn. Not even shots being fired from spawn, but tanks just sitting in spawn. Like.
Oh yeah, it was glorious.
Yeah.
Awesome map.
Yeah,
I
great map.
want to see more war-themed maps, though.
Yeah. Oh my God. Okay, I don't know if I'm even allowed to say this. One of the guys there, they're allowed to do projects, right? Oh, I can't say it. Oh, I don't know if I can.
Do it. You've already started. You've already come this far.
One of the guys, they're allowed to do private projects, and then they can take them to the developers, and the game designers say yes or no. And they did a private project of I won't say what it was, but it was a war-themed map, and it was massive. It was the most amazing, coolest, awesome-looking map I've ever seen, and I would love to have it in game. But it didn't work. They put it out to super test, and it was horrible. The gameplay was disgusting, and they couldn't get it balanced, and they couldn't make it so that it was actually balanced for both teams. But it looked amazing, and I was like, please put this in the game. Like, please put this in the game. And they're like, we'd love to put it in the game.
I like what they did with Mines when they brought it out and let us play it in the training group.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, that's a good idea, actually.
That was great.
And they put it in.
I put forward the suggestion that maybe every game, every patch, I've said this before, you could put a retro map in the patch. That would be really cool.
Oh, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Or at least
Yeah.
allow them in training rooms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just about to say
Because
that.
Yeah.
I know in PC you can play like maps that are taken out of rotation.
Yeah,
in
exactly.
training rooms.
I agree. It would be, imagine, like, see, that's the thing. You could run a tournament on the old Oasis Palms, and that would be fun. Hey,
Yeah.
like, because you'd have really good players playing it, and you'd have a completely different map that no one's seen before who's played the game past patch 3.1 kind of thing. And that would be really, really good fun. Sorry, man. I'm back. What else? What else?
One of my best in-game Blitz experiences was the old Rockfield in the T110E5. And I had two 7K games in a row. That was
Yeah. Hello.
hands
Let's
down
guess.
the best.
Let's guess you drove up to the spot that you could just go hull down on, and you farmed. And you farmed.
Yep.
And you farmed. Man, my biggest game ever is like 8,400 damage in a T110E3. And it was on dead rail. And all I did was drive down to the right-hand side of the map where the heavy map, where the A spawn is, A cap is now on Supremacy. And I was facing that with, like, my head just above the lip of that. Remember how there used to be a big lip there on the lower side? And I just sat there and didn't move, and heavies kept coming around the corner. I just kept shooting them. And it was like, righto, you know, as long as you're stupid enough to keep coming around the corner, I'll keep shooting you.
Or Tiger 2 seems to be AFK. So that's lovely.
Thoroughly enjoyed the old mines. That was one of my favourite maps I really look forward to.
Well, I don't know if you guys know this, but on an A server, the favourite map is Castilla. They did polls. The favourite map was Castilla. On the Russian server, the favourite map is New Mines. And that is the biggest player base in the game.
Did
yeah.
they change mines in 4.4?
No, but the new mines that we've got now rather than the old mines. That is the favourite map on the whole Russian server, which is pretty funny because it's one of my least favourite
I need
maps.
help on the left because there's like 4 guys coming around.
Yeah. The passive Bushka, sorry, the passive Bushka is in their spawn at the moment, mate. Apologies.
So I'm the one playing too passive. Run away, run away.
With that statistic there, favourite map is mines. What tier was it? Was it like high tiers? Are we talking low?
I loved tier 9 mines because you could get the T54 and go hull down at the top and just farm everyone.
Yeah, that'll be it.
I only think what they need to do
Holy shit.
was
Sorry.
rebalance the
That's
spawn.
lots of tanks.
What was that?
There was one side that had a better run up to the hill from their spawn, which they just need to rebalance.
Oh, yeah, totally.
That was it. That's all I thought needed to be done, because I just think now it's too small. I mean,
Yeah.
I know the actual map size is the same, but the actual playable map is a lot smaller.
Yeah, I agree.
What are you doing, mate?
I'm sorry, man. I'm going to try and clear this T44.
Oh god. I bet SU-101 troubles. Oof, he bounced me. Oh, T-44. My god, really, dude?
The helmet was it?
Did you see that? Please tell me you saw that.
I missed that.
I was super low HP and I was side hugging the SU-101 and our T-44 came and rammed me into the SU-101 and I died.
Oh, man. That's grim.
In other news, one of my buddies got selected, so good for him.
That
Does
is pretty
anyone know
cool.
why they removed the Lost Temple map from rotation? It's
They,
really weird.
they did?
Yeah, from tier 7 and up, they removed it.
That shows you how often I play below tier 7.
Yeah, tier 10s don't see
Wait,
it.
Lost Temple,
Really weird.
the Chinese one?
Yeah.
No. I've seen that.
I haven't.
Maybe you're
I
right.
I saw something like that. I've
They made several.
yeah, they removed it from tier 7 and above, which is really weird.
Yeah, good no-scope work there, Bushka. Excellent work.
I was very happy about our copy.
Oh yeah, that too. Yeah.
This base. I was very happy.
Yeah.
Why can't they do the same with mine?
Excellent shot.
Yeah. That was glorious, wasn't it?
I've currently been playing tier T9 back shot. As soon as I get on mines, you get the hill in the back shot because you're the fastest medium at tier 9 and tier 10. It's just, you always win. There's not a single encounter you don't win at the hill. I just think
I'm unspotted, U-Butte. Still unspotted.
Tier 9, 10 tank to be able to own a whole hill, which can then spot into spawns and all that. I just think.
Yeah, you can get an STB up there. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, anything up there alone.
Yeah.
Up where?
Tank,
We were
one
talking
tank
about
can
again?
shut down the entire map. That's what I don't like.
Talking about Castilla?
No,
No,
mines.
mine's.
I like Castilla.
Yeah, Castilla's really good.
Castilla's a big map. I love it.
It's the
Bushka, where just says Bushka can aim. I swear to God, when I'm trying to read chat and everything else, I often do like refuse to snipe go into Zoom just because I'm lazy. Like I'm like, yeah, whatever, it'll go in. And if it doesn't, I've got enough hit points to win anyway. I've got enough hit points, so I don't have to worry. You know, I can afford to pay this price, and it'll look good if it doesn't. Like Christ. All right.
Forget how much DPM that thing has now.
All right, I'm out. I'm done. I'm wrecked. Thank you very much, M16, for the run. I'm too loud and the others are too low. Sorry about that, Greensky. My bad, mate. I'll work on it. Some other things, just quickly before I forget, just to finish it off. If you're wondering why they changed the meta to a more heavy meta, it's also got to do with it's a lot more forgiving to new players when you're learning the game. If it's a medium meta and you're coming into the game, you can very much be taken advantage of very, very quickly. The better, I mean, you saw M16 and I today. We won most games. I mean, we probably won 70%, and we're running around in 54 lightweights.
You hear that, Max?
Well, we can do some real easy math here.
Yeah.
Because I only had 6 games before in my German Bulldog, and I won all of those. So out of 19 games, and I'm at 80% now, 19 games and 5 defeats.
Yeah, so
that's pretty damn good.
I really like the
yeah, so it just goes to show that, I mean, despite the fact that it is definitely a heavy meta at tier 10 and such, you can still, mate, you can play, if you know what you're doing, you can run pretty much any tanks and win. That's all there is to it. And
73.7%.
yeah, and winning's just like, even the best players in the world don't win, you know, they still lose games. Like it's going to happen. Oh, they're also changing the IS-4. So they're buffing the IS-4's frontal armor and thinning out the IS-4's side armor.
That'll make a big difference, I reckon.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
No, why? Why do that?
Well, here's the thing.
Is what it's about.
Yeah, but
people reckon the IS-4 sucks and it doesn't.
it really doesn't. But here's the thing too. Like if you look at the IS-4, let's have a quick look in Armor Inspector, because I've got everyone on stream. If we have a look at the IS-4, and let's go to Russian. You've got so much side armor anyway. Even if they get rid of some of it, like
I don't think they'll be doing like an IS-7 nerfing sidearm, which is get rid of 10mm. I think they'll take like 50 or something like that. Ridiculous.
But dude, I mean, if you
25 off the space armor, not just 5.
If you look at the IS-4's armor profile right now, I mean, angled up at 16 degrees, and I've got 294mm of pen on parts of it, and the rest of it's just a flat auto bounce. Like over angled, I've still got 290 on most of it. Like I mean, I'm angled at 25 degrees right now. I'm looking at Armor Inspector, and the back left-hand side of it, the upper plate, is at 358mm of effective armor. Like, it's got a lot of armor. Even if they take some of it away, if they make the front better, it'll be pretty cool.
Thing is, though, that entire line is based on side scraping. And
yeah.
At the very top of it, they've changed it to head-on.
It'll still be
it's still side, yeah.
It's still side scrape.
Yeah.
It'll still be a side scraper the same way that IS-7 is still side scrape.
Yeah, exactly.
Anything that's rush, you can side scrape. You can take a T-43 and side scrape.
Yeah. So just to recap too, they were very, very closely looking at the thing that I suggested. That they didn't get it from me. Well, maybe they did, because I did send through a bit. Oh, it's actually interesting. So the two things that I sent through directly to them were the two things I sent through directly to them were the gun turret thing that Shaky came up with, and the possibility of putting. I did a whole feedback thing on the possibility of giving the Cent and the FV4202, just giving them 2 guns, and they are looking at that as well.
Yeah, I was gonna say they are doing that. Skate did a whole video on that, which is.
Yeah, well, this is basically all the stuff that we were in the dev chat for. What else? IS7. We were also doing this thing where we were talking about tanks that really need a nerf, and we all, Skate particularly said the IS7, and all the guys that were in the room were, a lot of them were playing in tournaments and things, and they're like, shut up, stop it. Like Goose from Purple is like going, man, I know where you live, shut up. Like, just really wasn't happy.
I really don't think the IS7 needs a nerf, to be honest. I mean, it's not that strong.
Oh man, it is. Come on.
It's not really though.
Okay, here's the thing. Here's the thing with the IS7. You are playing the IS7 and you're playing it with an engine boost, and you've got an M48 on the other team, and this is something Premo did, right? They ran the tests on this. You're playing on Castilla and you're playing from the North Spawn. You can get the IS7 to the top of the hill at exactly the same time as the M48. Fuck off. That's, excuse my language, that's ridiculous. That's one of the heaviest armoured tanks in the game.
The only heavy tank that should be able to do it is the French, but they don't have the armour.
Yeah, and so it's not about the fact.
Gets to the freaking church at the same time.
Yeah, yeah. If you run it with the engine boost from the North Spawn, it gets there at the same time as an M48.
Well, one lost to a mouse in a 1v1. That's what I'm saying.
It's not. I honestly don't see. I don't think they need to nerf, and this is what Skate was saying as well. I don't think it's the armor that needs the nerf. I think it just needs. It's a speed.
Yeah, just give it 42 kilometers an hour.
Make it the same speed as the IS4 at least, and then it, which is still pretty freaking. It still gets to 45 or 42. Yeah.
Yeah.
The IS4 gets to 42.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually,
I gotta play my T150.
I think it actually gets to 45. Don't quote me on this, but I'm going to go check because I've driven a lot of IS4.
Yeah, I think it does get to 45.
43, split the difference.
Yeah, there you go. That's all you need to do is the IS7, then it's balanced.
Yeah. Now
the armor is defeated.
There's something cool though, like when we look at the Twister Cup tournament, we saw so many more tanks, so they've definitely kicked a lot of goals there. But if you look at, there was a game where Thomas won that magical mouse game where he beat the IS7 in that one-on-one. Yeah. Oh, thank you, Sticky Fruit Roll-Ups, for the 5 Deliro donation. Yeah, because I said F. There is a game there where they win that game. There is not one single Russian tank on their team in that game, and that is the first time I have ever seen that in a tournament game. They had 4 Mouses, an E100, and 2 Batchats.
One team ran a Jaeger at one point as well.
Yeah, that was that game. They ran a Jaeger in that game.
Really weird.
Because they're expecting them to drive a lot of heavy tanks on that map. They run a Jaegeru, and with the heat pen, it goes up to 462 millimeters of heat pen.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, which is crazy.
And I've always said that it is competitive, but no one believes me.
Yeah.
Hey,
what's it called?
Yeah, JC?
Penetration.
Eric R. was asking about, have you noticed the lack of better chat bug at the game?
At the what chat bug?
Yeah, there's been a lot of incidents where everybody's seeing everybody team chat at a match.
No, I haven't.
I have not seen that.
Okay. That I wonder if it, and here's something else. If you have a bug, guys, get video of it and post it up to YouTube and send it through to the developers or put it on the forums, and they'll get it and they'll look at it. One of the things they kept saying to us was, would you please... JC said this would clear up within a week. Positives. The good-looking bridesmaid. I wonder who that could be. Good God. Someone put a muzzle on him. Oh, my God. Yeah. So, so send your bugs through. There was something else too. Oh, yeah. So we finally got it solved. And I talked to a few people about this. You know, forever, if you're looking at, say, and it used to happen all the time on old mines, where there'd be a rock, you'd be hull down, looking over the top of the rock, and you'd turn the gun a little bit, and the reticle would snap down to the rock. The reticle would snap down to like a rock or a tree or something like that, but it would be like 3 inches above it, and then bang, it'd snap down, and you couldn't shoot. The reason we found out the reason for that, we got the guys in, and they went through all the bugs that we had. We talked to these kind of crazy things, and it is it's because we don't really think about this, but the way the tanks fire is not in a straight line. They fire in an ellipse, so it loops. And if you're got the gun to the right, the gun is able to fire over the top of the rock because the trajectory is actually going up and across. So if you turn it slightly to the left, where the gun ends up there is then not at the so that it's pointing. The reason you can see over it is because it's pointing at the target. But as soon as you move it across to the left, the shell will no longer hit that target. It won't be able to have enough trajectory to get over the rock. The loop won't be high enough, so it snaps down to the rock. So it's not actually a bug. It's actually showing you where the shell would end up, which I think is pretty cool. It's a game mechanic, yeah. Yeah, actual physics. So yeah, there you go. How about the flying tank bug where you were stuck in the air and can't do anything? That's your ping, my friend.
That's just remember the old invisible tanks?
Oh, a lot of the guys.
Invisible tanks was great.
What was it? T95. I think I was with you, Bush. It was a T95 in the cab.
Yes. Yes.
Funniest thing.
I posted up to YouTube. That came up, and a lot of the guys on the teams hadn't seen that because they'd started playing the game after it. So I showed them the YouTube clip of a lot of people on Desert Sands just gathered around the cap circle, shooting into the cap circle, unable to see what was happening. And every time something died, the tank would become visible, and it was just like tanks popping up around the cap circle. What else?
That's a black project DARPA's working on still.
Yeah, they were talking about possible hull lock option being considered for turretless TDs, but they were very much against that. I don't think that'll come into the game. That was a suggestion from someone, just because it'd be handy, but then it's like a whole other button as well, like siege mode or something like that.
Yeah, that is true. Can you remember the time? It was a couple of patches ago. It was just after the release, and you'd pop into a game and you'd have like 8 versus 6.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
Like that.
Oh, something for, I think it's Mezzers might be the one who's colorblind. We talked about why isn't there a colorblind mode, and they weren't really even talking about that, and they may be able to put... No, it's not Mezza then.
Super colorblind.
Yeah. So we put forward the idea that there's a colorblind mode in PC and Xbox and everything, and it's really, really good, and a lot of people use it, and they say that the colorblind mode will be addressed. So there you go, boys.
That's great because I'm super colorblind.
Yeah, so there you go. M16. You got to be
14 out of 15 on my physical. That little dot. They're like, what number is this? I'm like, 42. Cool.
I'm just such a nice guy. I don't see colour.
Oh, you are so funny. Oh, you'll make a great dad one day. Stick with it. Yeah.
My dad joke's pretty great though.
Terrible.
You all know you love it.
They may actually move the 4202 as well. That might get moved.
Yeah, I heard about that for the Action X.
Action X.
Yeah.
Also
Yeah. Chieftain Mark 6, maybe.
The Super Conqueror is going to replace the 183. Confirmed next patch.
Speaking of British heavies, aren't they buffing the side armor on that?
They are. They're buffing the side armor on the 215B.
Yes.
Yep.
That is going to be glorious.
Now,
Yeah.
Tom Maury brought up one I'd like to see. Changing the chat buttons to like give the left or right arrows or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
SOS.
Yeah, another good one. We did talk about that.
Is there one for like a middle finger and
yeah, like there was so much stuff that we talked about. It was a really, really, really big event. Like getting
I thought, there's a reason street signs are international symbols of it, yet they want to go with word.
Yeah, we're going to do that. The other thing that you got to remember is we were talking, like we had an hour with that dev, then we had an hour with the map guys, and we had an hour with the server guys, and an hour with the like publishing guys, and like so we're like literally in a room with these guys for 4 hours. So a lot of it I just can't remember until I'm asked the question about it, which is kind of cool. But yeah.
Okay. Hey, talk about your RU server playtime a little bit.
Okay.
You got
I rocked the RU server. I smashed. I played 25 games at like 84% at tier 10. I had multiple Kolobanovs. I had a 4.5k Kolobanov, which I posted up the other day in the T62A, where I was just thundering. And I don't think it's because I was so much better. I think it's because I finally got to play with like ping where it sometimes went down to 20. Like, I've never played with that kind of ping before where every shot goes where you put it. It is crazy fun to play at that kind of ping. Like you saw today, I was playing with 250 ping on the NA server, and it's no excuse because a lot of the shots I missed was because I just didn't care. But
if you get stable ping, and
yeah,
you know it's a bit higher, that's perfectly fine.
It's fine, but it's not as fine as stable ping at 20 to 50, man. It's unbelievable.
I long for the day when I can do that.
Yeah, yeah.
I play constant 250 on NA, and it's not good.
It's also, you win those little fights. There was a fight with the T62A that I posted up on Mines where I was actually, and this is the other thing, I thought I was getting a lot of shade thrown my way, but apparently people say this translation is they're being polite and complimentary towards the player of the 62. And I'm like thinking they're bagging the crap out of me, but no, they're just being polite Russian players, which was a new one.
Polite Russians?
Yeah, but apparently this is something that happens when you've got low ping. There was these things, you know, where you're pressing the button, you're like that. Tap, 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 come on, fire. And I was winning those ones, which was awesome. And I also showed a new trick for some of the kids. Like, we were sitting down to breakfast and we were talking about how we set up our controls and everything. And I was talking to Raikkonen and these guys, and I'm saying, well, but you know how he's going, what did you do there? I'm like, well, that's how I snipe. Like, I hold the button down and I keep holding it down while I'm aiming, and then I let it go and it saves you. And they're like, oh my God, I didn't know you could do that. I'm like,
because while you're holding it down, can't you can aim with it as well?
Yeah, you can aim with it. So you're holding it down with your left hand button and you're aiming with your right hand button, and then you release it and it saves you that millisecond, right?
Yeah, I used to do that on
yeah.
It also helps, instead of taking your finger off, to press the fire button after you aim, so you can move your aim as well as fire.
Yeah. So that's why I run two buttons basically.
I'm learning things here.
Yeah, so you hold the button down and it doesn't fire until you release the button. The button doesn't fire when you press it. The button fires when you release it. So we also brought up the idea of, if you've got an autoloader, just being able to hold the button down to make it fire, which causes all kinds of game issues for them to fix. But at the same time, oh yeah, that's right, Rocket Boy, we brought that up as well. The possibility, because credits, I mean, I don't know about you guys, for most of us, credits once you've played 30,000 games are no longer an issue. Like, credits are not the problem. It's spare parts. A lot of people play a whole lot of spare parts, of credits. So with premium tanks, we brought up the idea of premium tanks earning spare parts at a greater ratio than normal tanks, and they were very receptive to that, and that got written down as well. Yeah. Fernando Jesus, I don't think the Leopard 1 is weak compared to the Object 140 and 62A. Like, I played the Leopard 1 yesterday with Snake Eyes. First game playing it, I did over 5k and got a mastery in it. Like, it's a really, really good tank. It's just not an easy tank, mate. That's the thing. Like, the Leopard 1 has amazing things, and if you get used to playing it, great. And this is another thing. Remember, they do not buff for 45% to 55% players. They buff for 55% players, or balance, through to 65% players. That's the biggest proportion of the population that they look at when they're balancing a tank. And that's why you can get tanks like the Leo 1, which is great if you know what you're doing, but which is an out-and-out bloodbath if you don't know what you're doing.
Does anybody else zoom out before they shoot?
No.
Yep, I am guilty of this.
Man,
I do it all the time.
that freaks me out too. That is so weird. There was a guy who won the shoulder of wonking, or came third in the T30, and every single shot he took in the T30, he zoomed out before he shot. That weirded me out.
A lot of the, I guess, lack of pros, but I guess your pros, you say that your Twister, Vegas guys do that. They zoom out, they'll zoom in, pick where they want to shoot, and then quick tap the binocs and then fire. And it's a habit, and I don't know why, but a lot of us do it.
That's weird. The other thing that was odd was how many people play with the claw. and this is like something you see a lot on the Legion team, is they'll play with the claw. And what I mean by that is, okay, so they've got their thumb on the driving button, and then they get their pointer finger, their index finger, and they're using that on the fire button on the left and the fire button on the right and the ammo bar. So they never take their thumbs off the screen for aiming and driving, always. And then they just tap. They just tap with those two fingers there to fire and to open their ammo bar and everything. And it is so much more efficient when you think about it, because there is never a point in time where you have to take a finger off, say, aiming to fire. So you're always aiming and you can fire a lot more efficiently. But good luck starting from scratch and then relearning that. Yeah.
Like I don't really play mobile anymore. Only when we get our asses kicked, we might have to switch over.
Yeah.
But I've always index fingers and thumbs. But I've always wondered if I could do it. But even though I'm a bass player and guitar and stuff, I don't even think I'd have the dexterity to do that.
It'll just take time, dude. That's all. It'll just take time on, and that's a tough thing to do.
Some of us don't have time.
Fernando Jesus, mate, I just don't think that the Leo 1, like, they look at the numbers and the Leo 1 just doesn't perform poorly compared to those other tanks. Especially not now that you've got that buff to heat. Like, it gets really good pen now. Where are we?
Pen, exactly the same pen as before they buff, before they nerf.
Yeah, like you can get the Leo 1 up to 330 millimeters of heat pen now and 268 millimeters of APCR pen. Yeah, I know that what you're saying. I just don't think they're going to buff the Leo 1 at all. I think it's in a really good place.
Yeah, I don't think it needs a buff.
The only thing
Give it 0.1 accuracy. That's all it needs.
Doesn't already have that. I was going to
It's,
say
it's,
that probably
definitely already too inaccurate.
Yeah, probably the only thing that would ever buff would be something like a armor figure or something like that.
Yeah, maybe.
They
yeah.
don't need to touch it though.
Give it 300 millimeters of armor everywhere.
The thing that gets me is like the 62A now. I still don't understand, and I asked them. This is kind of self-serving because I love the 62A now. And we were talking about favourite tier 10 mediums with the devs, and I was saying, I just love the 62A, and they said, really? And then Dragon Geddon was telling me, 62A sucks and all this, the best tank is this. And it's funny to actually see how everyone has, and this is something that's really good, like I think they've done a really good job on, is how much variety you see played at tier 10 by good players, like how people have a real predilection to certain tanks at tier 10. It's not just universal, everyone goes and plays an IS-7.
Yeah, not like last year where it was 7 object 140s.
Yeah, but the 62A, that just doesn't make sense to me now. The aim time on the 62A is better than the object 140's aim time when you're not running vertical stabilizer or enhanced gun lane drive. Like so you've got 0.261 dispersion on the 62A now and 2.7 seconds of aim time.
That's now the gun hand
balanced.
Tier 10.
Yeah, and the aim time on the Object 140 is 2.8 seconds. So your 62A has better aim time without a single buff to any of its aim time stats. Like you can get the 62 aim time down there. I'll show you to 2.2 seconds. The Object 140 best is 2.8 seconds. Like.
The only tank that can really match that is a Leopard in the E50.
Yeah.
The Met graphics in the way of that Bushka.
Sorry. The bed graphics. My bad. Yeah.
And he did go to bed, so it worked.
Okay, I'm going to go, guys. I'm pretty wrecked, but that was a really good Q&A and a download. Yeah.
Well, who is opening a bag of...
I'm having a protein bar.
Yeah, Rocket Boy, they definitely fessed up to making mistakes. Like, that's obvious. That's why they keep making changes. They have issues. Like, JC Ware made a really good point earlier, and I don't know if a lot of you guys realise this, but so you have a premium that gets introduced to the game and everyone buys it, and it turns out that it's overpowered. They didn't try and make it overpowered, but it's overpowered. And then you have and everyone goes, oh, stupid devs making the T54 Mod 1. And then you have them release a premium that's not overpowered, and everyone goes, it's a shit tank, don't buy it. Like, what are they meant to do with this? Like, they try and get the middle ground, which you see with a tank like the Cruel Twist.
The Bulldog.
Yeah, the M41 Bulldog, which I think is a brilliant example of a tank that's good, but
not overpowered.
Yeah, not overpowered. And people...
I do feel it's a bit sluggish on the
Yeah.
acceleration for a light tank. But
It
that's
accelerates
really
faster
the
than the
only...
RU.
It's faster than the RU, man. It's got better terrain resistant stats than the RU. It really does. I think...
Really?
Yeah.
It just feels slow.
It's the one... I'll tell you why you might think that. Because the one part where it's not better is in soft terrain. So if you're on a road or on hard rock, it's faster. It's got like 0.6 and 0.8. But when you get to soft terrain, it's like 1.3, which is actually worse than the RU. And because it has worse power to weight ratio, then it's actually much more sluggish taking off from soft terrain like grass and things.
Yes, that's I'm normally on playing.
And that's something a lot of people forget. If a lot of people that run the low resolution graphics, they actually are not seeing that.
Yeah, that's a good point.
You don't really see that anyway, though, do you?
Well, if you want to go and see what we're talking about, Mad Red Rat, I think it is, an RU YouTuber, put out a great thing of the maps, and it shows you the actual soft terrain, hard terrain, medium terrain. So when you're driving along a road, for instance, that's as hard as you're going to get, and that's when your tank goes the fastest. When you're, say, in an area like, it used to be great, on old Oasis Palms, underneath one of the spawns was an area that was dirty soft, and it was really, really tough, and it didn't look like it, but if you... Yes, the ditch.
Yep.
And if you didn't realise it... Yeah, if you were in a heavy tank or a T95 and you went down there, you were dead. People didn't realise it.
What's the one button people have too? Is, grass off in sniper mode.
Yeah.
That type of stuff. So they wipe out. They're running 30 frames per second.
Yeah.
Low resolution. So you really don't see that. You just see green and browns or whatever.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
turn on grass and sniper mode anyway because it's annoying.
Also, a lot of people don't see it because they don't advertise ground resistance in the game.
They don't.
They really don't.
There's a great stat on Tank Compare that isn't just ground resistance. It's also, it shows you the adjusted,
Wind resistance.
The adjusted terrain resistance. So, for instance, okay, so I'll give you a really good example of this. You're looking at the RU251 and the RU251, right? Now, ground resistance is the lower the number, the better. This is for you guys on YouTube watching this. So, on hard terrain, the Bulldog has 0.6. The Bavarian Bulldog has 0.6. On medium terrain, 0.7 and 1.2 on really bad terrain, right? So what happens there is that's the coefficient. So you're trying to accelerate, and that's the coefficient that is supplied to, which is applied to that, right? The RU has 0.8, 0.9 and 1.3. But the RU's power to weight ratio is 27 horsepower per ton, whereas the Bavarian Bulldogs is 23. So you'd think that's got to come into it. True, it does. So the adjusted effective horsepower per ton with the terrain resistance stats taken into account for the RU is 34.3 on hard, 30.5 on medium. For the Bavarian Bulldog, it's 39.6 on hard and 33.9 on medium. So it's better on both those terrains in terms of mobility. But the terrain resistance stats for the Bavarian Bulldog on soft is 1.2 and on the RU it's 1.3. So the RU's got worse terrain resistance stats on soft as well. But because it's got better horsepower per ton, the real effective horsepower per ton of the Bulldog is 19.8 and it's 22 horsepower per ton for the RU. So it does in fact take off quicker on soft terrain. New players have no idea about this, and I'm a stat nerd looking at this crap all day long. So I think horsepower per ton and terrain resistance interact, and this is why people who look at tanks and want to know what's going on with them should look at Blitz stars, because it comes up with these crazy stats like that, which you just will never see in game.
Yeah.
There you go. For those of you who want to go and waste time looking at that and actually realise what is a fast tank. Yeah, what is a fast tank? And the reason why that's so important, like you look at a tank like the and this is even better. Like let's have a look. We're talking about the IS7, right? And we're talking about the IS7 versus, say, a T110 E5. The terrain resistance stats on the IS7 are, and this is where it's a real surprise, much worse than the E5 on medium ground, right? The E5 has, and this is where, like, the terrain resistance stats in the IS7 are 1.2, 1.5, and 1.9. That's why light tanks are so incredible. The Bulldog is like 0.6, 0.8, and 1.3. Not one of the IS7s is under 1, right? But the IS7's effective hit point horsepower per ton is slightly lower across the board than the T110 E5. So it tells a part of the story, but it doesn't tell the whole story. Because the E5 is obviously quicker off the mark, it's slightly better on traverse and all this, just because it's got better terrain resistance stats and it's got better horsepower per ton, but it doesn't have 50 kilometers an hour as a top end. So the E5 is going to top out at 37. If you put engine boost on an IS7 in a game, it will get to a choke point quicker, regardless of all those things, because its top end is so high. So this is where you've got to be able to balance those things out. So we say IS7 needs a mobility nerf. Well, no, it doesn't. It needs a top end nerf.
Yeah, a top end nerf.
Yes,
Yeah.
Top
So,
end nerf.
yeah, so this is why, and there's a lot of other stats we don't have that are hidden from us that the developers put into the game, like armor. Armor thickness is not what gets buffed when you get a buff to enhanced armor. It doesn't do a universal plus 4% across the board. They tried to do that, and they couldn't even find the freaking number to touch to code that in. They just could not find it. It was impossible, to do. They couldn't get it done. So what they ended up doing was buffing the armor type, and it's like there is actually a tangible difference between the steel on an IS6 and the steel on a T32. I know that sounds crazy, but that's the stuff they're buffing. They're buffing that, and it doesn't even have a name, the coefficient that they are giving that plus 4% to. You just have to take for granted that you get more bounces when you buff that number. It's weird. But so there's all these kind of stats in game that we just don't see.
Yeah, I was going to say that the similar thing with that is on World of Warships, each shell has a different
Yeah.
strength.
Yeah.
So I think
Oh.
them have the highest strength of the shell.
Yeah. And they have the different number for the fuse to actually explode,
Yeah,
which
exactly.
makes crazy stuff. So then you get overpens because some have a really long fuse on AP, and then you get the Brit AP that has a really short fuse or whatever, or the American one. It's mad. It's just mad.
It's just a lot of these little
Bushka,
figures that we don't see.
Before
Yeah.
your wife drags you out of the attic,
Yeah.
when is the edited
Quite literally.
video coming?
Today. I'm going to drop that. Let me see. I can drop it now if you want.
Drop it like it's hot.
You won't.
Big
No
ass
won't.
screener.
Let me just chuck in here. I'll make it available. Untitled project. Here we go. I'll call it something different. Everyone like the video and I'll drop it. No, I'm just joking. Yeah.
So is the stream still on?
Yeah, your stream's still on. So
Red Baron,
Oh, shit,
Red
sorry.
Baron was having an ongoing problem with coming in late to his game by a couple of minutes. And
Yeah.
apparently has
That
taken
would be
some work.
connection or device issues.
well, I know that playing with Swiss and the rest of the boys, I've usually got the very, very latest iPad and such, and I'll nearly always load in before them. Like I just will nearly always get there before them.
Oh, yeah,
I've had it
on
happen.
Mac.
I've had it on and off. That's when it happened.
Yeah.
So,
But that dropping a couple of minutes late is pretty crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I know
I
my
gotta-
I know my iPad I load in after it's done the countdown to start the battle. But on my Mac I'm in at least 20 seconds beforehand. I can start typing and all that crap.
Yeah, now that I got my SSD yesterday, it's insanely fast. I loaded weird.
Yeah, I'd suggest maybe trying Baza, whether it's happening on Wi-Fi and on 4G and stuff.
I'm pretty sure it's device. Because my old iPad, I can't play it. It's just
Yeah.
I got an
I
iPad.
had one of my iPads is an iPad 2. I don't use it anymore. It's just probably
Let's see if anyone said first.
Yeah.
Sergio says, oh, is this for serious, the first comment? LOL. Oh, God. Yeah, so there you go, guys. That's a Twister Cup. I just dropped that. I'll tell you what else I'll drop. I edited out of the footage, and I was going to do this tomorrow, but stuff it. It's Saturday and Sunday tomorrow, and it won't make.
Now, as a patron, you do have access to the Bushka and the Dancing Girls video, but that's only.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Far out.
What's this dancing girls thing that I'm hearing?
Oh, God.
Did you have a little fun in Minsk?
What happens in Minsk stays in Minsk. Unless you're a patron, which you get to see it on Minsk.
Yep.
What I did was I edited out. There was a big interview because they were having tech issues. The head of Wargaming Publishing, Global Publishing, Andre, and Piabavol. I don't know if that's how you spell it, if that's how you pronounce his name. I actually edited out the interview I did with him, where I talk about all this, and I think we covered pretty much all of it today, but I'm not certain. So he explains a lot of their rationale, and that's a 22-minute interview if you want to watch him.
I thought that was pretty stand up of him to sit there.
Oh, it's good, wasn't it? And I also like the fact that I put him on the spot and some things, and he didn't flinch. He just came back with answers. I loved it. It was very, very good.
Where's this video?
I just dropped it now. So I dropped both those. All the Twister Cup games edited out. Apart from the finals, I left some of the hullabaloo in for the finals, where you see me and Skate talking, and that just because it was like pretty cool.
Yes. Speaking of which, when Skate came in, it was much more.
Oh man.
Fluid, I guess.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing.
Your throat, you're getting rough. I can tell. I mean,
they don't show it, but the whole time. Okay, so I didn't know when I was stopping talking. They wouldn't tell me to stop, and because we had some tech issues, surprise, surprise, I was talking to them, but they couldn't hear me because reasons. And the only way that they could see that I was answering them or anything without putting my voice over the top of stuff was when I was on camera and I gave them a thumbs up. So I was talking the whole time. So the first 3 hours, when they're cutting to interviews, when there's dancing girls going, when the Beat Boys are out there dancing, all that stuff, I was talking non-stop the entire time. So by the time it got to 3 hours, I was effed. And I grabbed Skate, and he was on for an interview, a short interview, and the lady's saying in the headphones, "Bushka, you can finish with your guest now." And I'm like, no, he's not going anywhere. And you can see at one point, it cuts back to me, and I've just finished hugging Skate. So I'm like, "You're not going anywhere, dude. Stay with me." And then we get back onto the thing, and I'm like talking, and I was absolutely, because I had a cold as well, and I'd just been on, like it was a 2-day plane ride to get there. Then we had 1 day of rest, and then it was full bore for 2 days after that. And then I'm getting a cold the whole time, and I'm jet lagged. And then they put me in the chair, and I had to talk for 3 hours straight. It was over. Absolutely over. I needed someone.
You could have brought Svetlana over, or whatever.
Svetlana?
Yeah.
She was a good-looking girl, Svetlana. Like, I could have brought her on board, but she would have got a lot more views, but, you know, it wouldn't have helped my voice.
You and Skate seemed to throw stuff back and forth pretty good. It was
entertaining to watch. I was happy to have Skate there, and it wasn't that I didn't want him in the first place. It's a misconception. It wasn't that I was trying to do it all on my own. The thing is, I had Snake in Vegas, and I wanted Snake because, not just because I feel really comfortable with Snake, which I do, and we get a nice repartee going. It's also because he speaks Russian, and you've got to remember the entire staff of Wargaming, pretty much 99% of them are Russian. And the biggest issue I had, like during the stream, I had a 1 minute break, and I'm screaming for Zhovsky, who played for C4 at the previous tournament. I'm like, Alexei. I'm screaming down in the auditorium and get him to come up. And because he was the only one I could find who could really communicate at that point in time with good English with the guy who was the tech next to me. And I needed stuff done because I was dying, right? And And so if I had Snake there, he would have just gone brrr. Like, for those of you who were in Vegas, it was incredible how much more effective and how much easier things flowed having Snake, who could just naturally was a native Russian speaker. And that was really, really good. And so then when I got all the way to Minsk, Snake couldn't come because he had to work, and I didn't want to blow it. I didn't want to go and say I'm going to go with Skate and then have the chemistry not work, because I'd never done it with him before. And then it ended up working. So in the future, we've got plenty of options, and it's really good. So yeah. Hopefully, I'll do it again.
God, if he could do those silly videos with your Uncle Jingles and Honest Gaming and stuff, I mean.
But it's a big difference. There's a big difference, because when you're there, you've got to be very emotionally sympathetic as a commentator, because you've got to be able to do that on the same level, and it won't work. You think it's easy, but it's like when you do podcasts. You think it's going to be easy because you've got a really good relationship with someone, but you get in a podcast and you start talking to them, and it's very, very hard to get the balance right. They maybe think they've got to talk more, or they're not talking enough, or maybe they're talking too much and they feel like they've got to pull it back. And to do that on the fly is not as easy as you think it is, and you kind of just get lucky that it works. It doesn't always work at all. And I was worried about, because I mean, it was really important to me after doing New York to do that and to make sure I did it right. And I didn't go all the way around the world to F it up. So I knew that I could do it on my own, no qualms. And I knew that I could do it for 2.5, 3 hours on my own, no problems. When it turned into a 6-hour juggernaut, it didn't matter anymore about who was talking over who. I just had to get someone in the seat next to me. That's all there was to it.
It was kind of a shame, because it got so long. I had to do something like earn a living.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm definitely going now. That's a 21-minute goodbye, because Snake just came on. Is he talking or playing? And then he immediately called Ouija a noob. Good on you, Maxi. Love you. Thank you very much for listening, everyone. We're down to about 120 people now because I stopped playing and just started talking. But there's plenty of info there. I just dropped the videos, obviously, for the full-length Twister Cup games, edited out, and the interview with Andre from Wargaming Publishing. So I hope you guys enjoy those. Until next time, look after yourselves and stay safe on the battlefield.